forgot to set this. Nope. There we go. Hello. Welcome to First Thing in the Morning with Toast of Perfection. I have toast. I got told something interesting by some people on Discord today. So I thought I'd share first thing in the morning. So, first thing in the morning for me, I get my toast, and I get a YouTube video going. I'm gonna open all of these because I watch all of these people. Love me some Dorko. Always love watching IBX Tweetcat. He keeps me updated on Minecraft news. This looks like I love Raito's theories, like his stuff. One of the few theorists I actually watch. So yeah, I'll check that out. I'll usually also check notifications as well, because not all of my stuff I watch is up here. Some Johnny Blocks today. Let's watch some Johnny Blocks. So we'll just quickly organize this. I'm weird and I like to organize the videos into lengths. I don't know why. Hello. Yeah, less than 10 minutes. I tend to watch like videos that are super short, just because they're 10 minutes. Some Johnny Blocks. But first, gotta bring up chat. I have no idea what my plan is right now. Alright. Here we go. No thumbnail because I'm lazy, which by the way, it's called untitled.jpg.
Hello, people of the internet, my name is Johnny, and welcome back to another FNAF news video. This is going to be an update video on the Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic VR mode. Last video you may have seen a couple days ago on April 28th. I posted a video talking about the release of Mimic VR, how it was only for PlayStation. That's pretty much the super quick rundown. That was very quick, hastily put together video, just talking about how kind of generally disappointed I was with how the release and just overall VR mode of Secret of the Mimic was handled. Especially considering in the first teaser trailer for Mimic VR, we had this backwards message that said PSVR 2 and PC. And when the second gameplay trailer was released on Dawko's charity stream, that trailer ended off by saying, coming to PlayStation VR 2. Dawko said during the charity stream, don't worry guys, it's also going to be coming out on PC because historically Stillwell has had a past of in their trailers only saying coming to PlayStation platforms because they do have a deal with Sony. However, their games usually do release on PlayStation and PC at the same time still. So it was for those reasonings that fans were assuming it would be released on PlayStation and PC at the same time. So that's why when April 28th came around and it only released on PlayStation, with Steelwool saying that it's coming to PC very soon, that's what led a lot of fans to be upset. That is pretty much the basic rundown of last video. I wanted to clear the air and make it clear that I'm not hating because, oh, I'm a PC player and I can't play it on launch day. A lot of us fans were just pretty disappointed that there wasn't
honestly, that's the least of the issues. That was the least of the issues, let's be for real. I was happy when I saw how it turned, not when I saw how it turned out. When I saw how it turned out, I was happy it was delayed. And I'm happy again it got delayed again. Needed it.
It's exclusive to PlayStation. But something I wasn't able to touch upon in the last video was another thing that fans were pretty upset about, because I posted that video before a lot of fans got their hands on the video and started playing it that day, was unfortunately how pretty busted it was. There were a lot of posts the other day.
Yo! I think I follow this dude. Why am I using the fucking... Oh, dude. The fucking image is so fucking stupid. I used that image for my thumbnail.
Post the other day.
No. That image of Freddy is so fucking funny. No, you're getting a whole rant about this.
Pretty busted it was. There were...
When I saw this image of Freddy in, like, the teaser image... in, like, the, what was it? The teaser trailer, right? That shot of Freddy. I just saw that and was like... He looks like he's reacting to, like, I don't know, pushing babies over or something. He looks so distraught, does he not? Look how distraught he is. It's because, like, the Mimic's eyes make his eyes look really bright and wide. And it's like, what am I looking at? The pure horrors of unimaginable terror. Such a funny shot. Anyway, I just had to, I had to point that shot out. Such a funny one.
A lot of posts the other day talking about this VR mode, how buggy it was, how unoptimized it was, how glitchy it was, just visually not looking as impressive as the trailers
the Freddy trauma matched
made the VR version out to be. And you know, this thread is just one of many that I saw the past couple days talking about this VR mode, and it's pretty disappointing. Now, I do want to give a shout out. I do know that there were plenty of players who had absolutely no problems playing the VR mode the other day. Just like
I said it in my video as well. It's like, a lot of people in my comment section were telling me, but it was perfectly fine, I enjoyed it, it was amazing. And like, yeah. There was also someone in my comment section who says that launch security breach was like, perfect and amazing. So like, some people just get lucky with these things. Yeah, so some people always have a good time with it, even if it is scuffed. And I'm not gonna lie, the Secret Mimic VR mode that I saw from clips and stuff, it didn't look that scuffed. It just looked kind of... It was just disappointing in comparison to the base game. I just finished that video, left and forgot what's up. Yep, this is the first video I'm watching today. Anyway, how are you? Great, great. Had some notifications telling me something very interesting on Discord. Senator says, nothing... Oh, fucking... YouTube, stop putting that stupid heart emoji over people's messages so I can fucking read them. Nothing can beat Freddy on the bar with a drink and his... Yeah, oh yeah, that image is gold, yeah.
How I pretty much had no problems when I first played Security Breach on launch day. Some people did have a very positive, very glitch-free experience, but a lot of people, that was not the case. So many YouTubers who stream the game, only a handful of them, because again, it only launched...
There we are, boys! There we are! This fucking thumbnail! The thumbnail still cracks me up so much. Thank you for giving me gold steel wool to work with. It just... Oh, the what the hell steel wool on the side really touches it up. You can really tell those are what's going on in his little brain there. Like, steel wool, what have you done? Why is my head gone from the final game? Why must you sentence me to the abyss? Mimic, why sentence me to the abyss? There we are, guys, yeah. This is what I was told about on Discord. People were messaging me saying, yo, you've got 2 minutes 30 seconds in, you're in a Johnny Blocks video. It's like, wow, that's so cool. And this is not the first time, by the way. It's even cooler. I mean, I guess it's the first time I've appeared in a video. But I've had Johnny Blocks appear in my live streams before. Pretty cool. It's crazy to think that sometimes my videos actually get reach. How do you feel like the idea of Johnny handling the marketing of FNAF? Because I feel like a lot of people see that's the idea of Johnny... Yeah. Great. It can't be doing worse than whatever Scott's doing right now. Yeah, I feel like the Twitter account, Johnny should market that, do that specifically, because the Twitter account is dead, and it felt like it was supposed to be a news hub. Blocks is really good at being up to date and getting all of the news and having all that news in one place. The only little gripe would be that Johnny Blocks tends to also cover things like, you know, this, like people's reactions going, oh, I'm not happy with this. And one of the things I liked about Johnny a lot was that he was very honest with his opinions on things. Like, he was the only YouTuber who got to see the Fights Phase 2 film early and actually said criticisms about it. Every other YouTuber who went and saw it early was like just gassed it up and pretended like it was... They just didn't want to... I think they just felt bad and didn't want to kill the hype for it. But they just remained entirely positive and only gave their criticisms when the film came out. Johnny Blocks is the only one that gave their criticisms immediately. So something I really like about Johnny is how open and honest he is, and you can't really do that on a brand account. So either A, Johnny would be saying the same news on 2 different accounts, because he'd have to have the one with his opinions and stuff on it on his own account still, because you wouldn't want that in the business account. Or, yeah, or it'd be weird because he's got his opinions in a business account. That's like the only weird little quirk there. Is because I really do appreciate Johnny Walker's honesty when it comes to things like this. You can't really do that in a business account. See you some message. Hell yeah, I did. Sal says, yeah, I had an off feeling that everyone was being super supportive about the film because they got a second movie, but I feel like it could have closed down. Yeah, the thing that bothered me is that, see, it wouldn't have surprised me if some of them were just really, really liked it, just that much genuinely, but most of them then had a scheduled video the day the film went live to talk about their criticisms with it. And it's like, this was supposed to be the, what you said earlier when people asked you on your opinions on it. Well, at least we got the goat Johnny Blocks who was honest right off the bat. Anyway, now we've seen the thing. Might as well just keep watching Johnny Blocks.
PlayStation did run into a lot of bugs and just overall had a pretty negative experience playing the VR mode. So that is, again, pretty much a recap of everything that happened on launch day. Now, I do want to talk about Steel Wool's replies because they have responded to the entire situation. This first response was on launch day and they said, "Hi all, we see there's some confusion about the FNAF Secret of the Mimic VR launch today and we want to clarify everything. We launched our PlayStation PSVR 2 update today. We are currently testing the launch build for a PC VR version via Steam. We are expecting..."
I agree, FNAF is a toxic positivity problem. I don't agree with that statement. The fanbase is pretty vocal all of the time. If something comes out and people are upset about it, they are vocal. Like, there's definitely toxic positive fans, for sure. You see them all the time. But I feel like the community is pretty good at venting their frustrations. Mainly because, like, the community knows they get listened to when they do vent their frustrations. It does feel like there's been a few times now where the community has, even like especially recently actually, where the community has like not been toxic positive and have advocated for improvement. I believe there was like one commenter on my previous video who kind of came off toxic positive, who was quite like harsh to a bunch of people and saying, no, it's going to be patched, you can't complain or whatever. It's like, they can still complain, buddy. They can still complain. Yeah, there's definitely toxic positive fans out there, but I don't think it's like a full community-wide issue or anything. I think for the most part it's still alright.
To approve and launch the PSVR build in the next day or two.
Oh, and as for the YouTubers specifically, I think a big part of it was because of the experience they had. Like, a lot of them got, like, to go to this really cool place and watch it, like, early, with this big cool event all around it. Like, honestly, that would make you like anything. I actually do genuinely believe that the first response to watching it in that setting would be significantly more positive than the first response watching it in like the regular consumer setting. So there could have also just been some recency bias with like the event and stuff going on. I don't think the YouTubers were intentionally going, oh, we have to create false hope here. I don't think so. I think it was more just they had a better time than most people did do the event, and they would have felt bad. They didn't think it was bad enough to start hurting the hype. But I do wish there was more honesty. Yeah, I guess my gripe is that FNAF is this close to being genuinely well-regarded peak and keeps falling short. Man, Fast Freddy's been doing that for ages. It's like, you think the next one's going to be the one. You think it's going to be there, and then it's got all the mistakes fixed, learned from everything in the past, got the right formula now, it's going to be good, and then they make a new mistake out of absolutely nowhere. But like, the big obvious example in the room, Secret of the Mimic. Massive step forward in every possible conceivable way. But it made a mistake that literally no other FNAF game made, which is that it didn't have anything from the original Fights Freddy's gameplay formula. No resource management, no survival sections, not even just one section for a reference. None of it. And again, like, no resource management's a pretty big deal, because that's like a whole thing. It's the only game that does nothing to feel like a Fights Freddy's game in terms of gameplay, which is the type of mistake you would not expect to see when every other Fights Freddy's game has at least one thing that makes it fit in. Is that close? That close. We can hope for DLC. I hope DLC fixes that. It'd be so easy to fix with DLC. I've been saying it for a while, but Secret of the Mimic could really use DLC for a lot of reasons. That's not the only one. Anyway, I skipped one person. Oh, it's one of the biggest topics in the community right now, where we're talking more about the issues FNAF is overhyping ourselves up. Yep. I was sitting in the back of everyone's minds for a while. I think Steel was finally listening. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a big talking point for a bit now. You can only have... Yeah, thankfully Fights Freddy's community is a community that can only go through so much negative things. They do start responding when things start going downhill. I think Security Breach was like a weird situation where there were a lot of Security Breach defenders, but I think Security Breach was also in a weird situation where, because it was like the first time, a lot of people kind of had trust that they'd fix it later, and then they did. So I think there was a lot of people, like, that was actually the boat I was in, but I was kind of reluctant to complain too much about the series before, because I didn't want to start shitting on the series over one, like, bad launch. One bad launch that everyone was already vocal about. Like, come on, one's not even a pattern. But we're getting to the point where more and more things are happening, where I think more people like me are starting to speak up. I hope they are. I do feel kind of weird about them saying they do take us seriously when it feels like they don't. Yeah, well, at least this post is a good start. So we'll see where they go from here. Hope they keep going on like this from here. VR is awful. Also, lack of replayability and gameplay mixing. Yeah, just in general, the gameplay is probably the weakest part of Secret of the Mimic. The base game, anyway. Secret of the Mimic, honestly, could work great as a base. Yo, dude, that was literally what I've been saying for ages. Secret of the Mimic doesn't feel like it's all the way there. It's the foundation. It feels like the foundation of a game, but it's missing some core elements that feel like should be in the game. It's missing, as I said, the Fights Freddy stuff. It's missing like an entire gameplay mechanic to make it feel more engaging. It feels like there's an entire thing's missing, but what's there feels like it could be there almost every game. It feels like almost a template of what modern Fights Freddy should be, rather than the full game itself, which is a really weird way to describe it. But like, I feels like that's pretty much what you're saying. Interesting that I'm happy I'm not the only one who thinks that. Hopefully we get a Fredbear's game. I'm like 99% sure we will. I don't know about any time soon, but I always saw the Fredbear's game like the Minecraft End update. It's gonna happen. Almost definitely. Scott knows we want it. Scott's constantly alluding to Fredbear's every game since like Fredbear's is introduced. Almost every game since Fredbear's is introduced. He knows we want to see more Fredbear's. He knows we want a Fredbear's game. And so I definitely think that it's just gonna happen. I don't think there's any world where it doesn't. The question is, how long will it take for it to happen? And honestly, I think it will be a while still. Still needs DLC? Yeah, I agree. Since Location 2 better be cooking up right now, I just know they're playing a flat release for the next game. Yeah. Oh man, I've been saying for a while that I want a modern day Babies game. It's so cool to finally see some things leading in the direction where it looks like that'll be true. So cool. And yeah, I assume that with Secret of the Mook's like weird launch here, I assume they won't repeat this again. The Secret of the Mook, Flat Mode, Ruin, Help Wanted 2 still will improve, they make great games. Yeah, for sure. Sure. And with Curse of Dreadbear, they proved they can make good Five Nights at Freddy's style games too, but they only did it in like Danger Keep Out and never again. Alright, let's continue going. Post.
And we will announce the second our team certifies it. For a little behind the scenes, the current testing is at 99.01% as of the time of this post. Our blog also has notes on our patch 1 for PSVR 2 that will also be applied to the PC VR version as well. Sorry if there was any confusion, we will make sure to be much more clear moving forward. So this post was pretty much just saying, hey, today we're only launching on PlayStation, we're working on PC, it's coming out in the next day or two, which is totally fine as a statement. However, absolutely should have came before the launch day. You
Hmm.
know, there were so many hints and teases towards a PC version in the first teaser trailer when Dawko said it, in my tweets as well. I know 100% Steelwall views my tweets. I've been told explicitly by multiple Steelwall employees that my tweets are viewed from people at Steelwall, and in my tweets, I would write for PlayStation and PC.
That's gotta be a huge honor, right? Like, got a hair in my mouth, my hair's too long. That's gonna be a huge honor. Like, I'm watching this video losing my mind over, yo guys, I appeared in a Johnny Blocks video. Imagine how Johnny Blocks feels about this. That the developers watch his videos, and watch his, or maybe not watch his videos, but at least like view his tweets. That's even more insane. That's crazy. I can't imagine, like, if I knew developers would look at my stuff, I'd be a little more anxious about what I'd be saying. I'd still say all of it, because as a developer myself, I know that developers want to know the problems, because they don't want the problems to still be there. So on a developer's side, I know that they want to hear even the negatives. So it's not like I'd like not say them, but if I knew they were saying them, I'd be a little more if I knew they were listening, I'd be a little more anxious saying it. So I can't imagine that. Just, damn, knowing the developers use you as a source of information is crazy.
So there were so many instances leading up to launch day where I really do wish Steelwall just straight up said, hey, it's going to be exclusive to PlayStation, we're still working on PC, we're going to need a bit more time. But anyways, that's in the past, lesson learned, you know, now let's wait the next day or two and see what they have to say about PC. So 2 days go by.
I'm glad a lot of people like the Mimic as a villain nowadays. Yeah, I'm 50-50 on that. Because I still don't think I like the Mimic. Not gonna lie, I think Secret of the Mimic made me like the Mimic less. Because I was hoping it'd build up the Mimic more to be more interesting. Like, I was giving the Mimic the benefit of the doubt, thinking it'd be more interesting in the next game. It's fully fleshed out now, and not gonna lie, it's not that much more interesting than what I originally assumed. So, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Mimic, but that being said, I'm not a big fan of, like, any of Five Nights at Freddy's villains. I don't really like any of them, to be honest. That's probably a hot take in the community, but William Afton, the Mimic, Eleanor, I don't really like any of them. William Afton's, as, like, is probably the best, because he's fleshed out across multiple pieces of media, and is the most fleshed out one, and whatnot, but even then, to get a fully fleshed out character, you need to like read books and stuff to do that, and I still don't like that conceptually. So, because most of William Afton's like characterization comes from like the novel trilogy. So it's like, you got one character, you got three characters who aren't great. One of them, if you maybe can cobble together a good character if you take multiple timelines and non-canon stuff into account. It's the best we got, and that's my take on the villains of Five Nights at Freddy's. So maybe I think that's a hot take, especially not liking William Afton. I think that's definitely a hot take. Yeah, maybe I've got too high standards in villains. I have zero basis for this, but I think Fredbear's will happen after Scott completes retroactively adding Edwin-level characterization to all the characters from the Afton arc. Similar. I think Fredbear's will happen once Scott is done with Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I don't think Five Nights at Freddy's will end anytime soon. Scott said in his retirement post that he planned to like give the series off to someone else once he's done with it. But at some point, he is going to be done with it. So I think Fredbear's will, in my opinion, will be his last big swing. So after Arc 2, and not gonna lie, so many people don't like the Mimic conceptually that it wouldn't surprise me if you made like a story Arc 3 to just kind of brought the series back to its roots narratively. And then maybe after all that, he does a Fredbear's game at the end. I think Fredbear's is definitely one of those things because it's like built up in every single game. It's such a core part of like the origin of the series. You can't really do a Fredbear's game until you're done building it up in every single game. So I think it's going to be, like, it's going to take forever to come out. I'm 100% certain it will. but I think it's going to take a long time. I like that idea. Ralph seemingly not knowing about Fredbear's Family Diner is weird. Does he? Yeah, no, he doesn't know it in FNAF 2. I don't remember it, but doesn't there's some reference to it in the week before. I just don't quite remember. What is up with Ralph not knowing about Fredbear's whilst making Springlock memory training tapes? Look, maybe he got a different job in between MCM and Freddy's. If you believe that Ralph worked at MCM, because there is a Ralph who does work at MCM, and he works on the Springlock suits. He works by like the puppet show, I think. We think he wore the Captain Springlock suit with the puppet show. I don't quite remember where that information came from, so maybe I'm hallucinating that. But I thought I remembered that. So maybe he like worked at MCM, learned about Springlocks there, worked somewhere else, didn't work at Fredbear's, and then came back and worked at Freddy's. It's like if you never worked at Fredbear's, then I mean I'd get it. Especially considering like the Springlock suits were used at Freddy's. Like those training tapes were for Freddy's. So the Springlock suits were at Freddy's. He doesn't need to know about Fredbear's to know about the Springlock suits. Especially if he worked at MCM, if you believe that theory. William Afton had long overstayed his welcome. I'm glad he actually died in Pizzeria Simulator. Not gonna lie, I don't feel like he would have overstayed his welcome if he was executed better. Like, I don't think I saw a single person complain about William Afton in Glitch Trap. When people thought William Afton was Glitch Trap, I didn't see a single complaint in Help Wanted. The complaints only really started happening when Security Breach dropped, and he was back in Security Breach. Even though that ending was already undone in, like, Help Wanted, it was Help Wanted's fault that Pizzeria Simulator didn't happen under this theory. That's now outdated and not, in my opinion, not true. When he appears in, like, Security Breach, the reason, I think the reason why is because the Security Breach boss fight sucked. Narratively and, like, gameplay-wise, it felt like a forced fan service moment. I don't know, it felt forced to me, anyway. I didn't really like it. Ralph was mentioned in Secret Mimic as well, in the mail messages. Something spilled suit failure. Yeah, thought so. I think a lot of people don't like the Mimic because of the books and because Vanny was sidelined in favor of it. I think people don't like the Mimic, yeah. One, because the book introduction left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. That whole ruined the Secret of the Mimic period was terrible. I really don't like that everyone thought that you had to use the books for those few years. That was a bad time in the community. And even now, Secret of the Mimic only replaced its origin story. A lot of the other information about the Mimic is still book exclusive. All the connections the Mimic has to Glitch Trap are still book exclusive. There's a few other things that are still book exclusive as well. But even now, to know everything, you still kind of had to read the books. I'm sure they'll lean into that more in the next game. But yeah, the book reliance period of time sucked. So I understand why that kind of gives like a foul taste in people's mouths when it comes to Mimic in general. The other thing is just, I think the general idea of the Mimic being the main villain, people didn't really like an AI villain, even before the Mimic, because Pop Ghost did it first, and a lot of people shut on Pop Ghost for doing it, like back in 2016. So, people already didn't like that idea in fan games and stuff. So it's just something that fans don't really like. It's just a direction fans don't like, really. It's not, they want to see like the human element, the human going on and causing the issues and being a big bad behind everything, not a AI going rogue and doing things almost mindlessly. It's not mindless, but like it wouldn't make that much of a difference if it was, because it doesn't have a strong motivation. M2 getting destroyed and M1 going completely off the rails could be a cool. Yeah, I actually genuinely have more. I actually hope that M1 does take over as the main villain. I've got my own like little crack theory that will happen, because I don't like M2 and I think there's genuinely more potential in M1 being evil. But also, we haven't gotten any Sit and Survive gameplay for FNAF in a while. We kind of need that FNAF. Even though I love Secret of the Mimic, it didn't feel like FNAF. Yeah, I said that earlier. It's like, that's like the one big thing I don't think was a good idea with Secret of the Mimic, which is just, they deviated so much in terms of gameplay, which wouldn't have been an issue on its own. It's just that came off the back of like Security Breach and Help Wanted 2, games what led fans to complain about the lack of identity. Don't make a game that deviates from your series' identity while fans are complaining about the series' loss of identity. It was not only like a weird decision, but it was a really bad time for that decision. So, actually, a lot, just in general, there's a lot of weird context issues with Secret of the Mimic. I'm not going to go too deep into that here, or maybe I will later, I don't know. There's a couple of weird things like that where it's like, I feel like this game would have been better, even better received had it released in a better context. Yeah, Citizen Survive gameplay, it needs to make a comeback in some way, honestly. I want to see it, like, do what Security Breach should. Security Breach had the right idea here. I love that Security Breach had a couple of Citizen Survive sections, just as minigames throughout the game. Perfect. Security Breach did it terribly. But the idea was solid, and the idea was the correct one, in my opinion. Similarly, Sister Locations method also works, where like, oh, you beat the game, and you get an optional game mode after. That also works. Or hey, maybe you don't even need to do it. Just as long as you integrate good resource management into the base game, it would still be like, it'd still feel good. Or hey, maybe you don't want to do it in main games. Make small spin-off games to have that gameplay style. Now, to be fair, that's technically already happening, because of, Popgo's Evergreen is technically an official spin-off now because of the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, and by extension, the Finance Candies games as well. But those are like re-releases. That's still not really a new Sit and Survive game. I mean, saying it's not new is a bit of an understating it quite a bit, because Pop Goes Evergreen seems like it is a massive expansion on the original Pop Goes, but still, it's not going to feel like that big swing, because one, it's not canon, two, they are games that we've seen before, because Candies 4 is not going to be like that either. What is Candies 4 is like Sister Location styled game, so not even Candies 4 will give us a new game in that style. I hope that Kane Carter, like, if Scott never does anything with it, I kind of hope that Kane Carter does some more Sit and Survive stuff. Because Kane Carter does seem interested in doing things outside of Pop Goes as well. So he's kind of going to be clutching the Fazbear Fanverse initiative in a way, by giving us so much new stuff. Like, Freddy or Not is awesome. I'm so excited with Freddy or Not. I want more things like that. I'd love to see his, like, do more interesting Sit and Survive gameplay, just to, like, try to accommodate for the fact that the main series itself isn't doing it. But I'd love it if the main series itself started doing it, you know? Anyway, that was a bit long of a tangent. Oh, shit, what was I up to? Here. Yeah, I think the same role, I think that makes sense. A lot of people still want William to be the main villain, but I agree, people didn't like it when it came to Burn Trap. Glitch Trap felt more ambiguous. Burn Trap felt more literal. Yeah, like, that was the thing going for Glitch Trap. Actually, I've said this on Discord before. Glitch Trap, even if Glitch Trap was Afton, it still didn't entirely undo Pizzeria Simulator, and that's another reason why I think it went down well with people, is under the theory that Glitch Trap is William Afton, he's a spirit. He's a spirit in the machine. His physical body is destroyed and gone, so, and his influence is still minimized. Sure, he found a way to cheat the death, but he was still negatively messed up by it. So I guess in that sense, Glitch Trap still at least felt somewhat satisfying. Whereas Burn Trap was like, nah, the body's still around. Nah, his spirit's actually so good that it can go back into his body for some reason. And yes, yeah, Burn Trap, and then everything else I complained about earlier. I'm happy that William Afton's dead and the Mimic replaced him. I think it's so much, Glitch Trap and Burn Trap are way more satisfying with the Mimic in mind. To be fair, no matter Burn Trap, regardless if he's William Afton or the Mimic or anything else, no matter what, Burn Trap is the worst version of that character, just because his appearance is just that bad, honestly. But at least I feel like the damage is not as bad given to the Mimic. I mean, being made 2 weeks before release is pretty forced. Oh crap, I forgot what that was responding to. Personally, I believe in glitched both in Afton and Burn Trap. Fair enough. Oh, about the app session. Dude, that's what these streams are for. This is why I make live streams. It's to talk to you people. Holy Yap Session. The Yap Session's the point. Oh. Yeah, my theory is Glitch Trap's Mimic Burn Trap is the Mimic wearing William Afton's corpse. But Glitch Trap, I think, predated the Phasma virtual experience. I think William Afton, after the events of Secret of the Mimic, successfully retrieved the Mimic, and then experimented with the technology by training it on himself, and I think that is what would later become Glitch Trap. The Glitch Trap is the fusion of what William Afton trained the Mimic program on, and what the Mimic program was trained on when it got put in the Phasma virtual experience. I think it's a combination of those two things. Because the weird thing about Glitch Trap is it's definitely both. Like, there's no solution that cleanly works where it's only one or the other. Because if you think it's Afton, then there's a lot of weird Mimic connections you gotta start explaining. And if you think it's Mimic, well then, the Mimic knows some things about William Afton it really shouldn't know. It's like, in some way it has to be both, in my opinion. Either, as I said, William Afton directly had a hand in creating it, or it's, as you said, his spirit still affects that program. So it's like both at once. The reason why I lean away from both is because, in my opinion, that's redundant. Because I feel like the Mimic, the entire point of the Mimic to me, what I've kind of vibed it out to be, again, no evidence for this, but for me, my takeaway from it is that it was done in a way, as a way to bring back William Afton without undoing Pizzeria Simulator. So like, oh, we need William Afton again in this visual space in Help Wanted. Oh, we want him back at the end of the boss fight in Security Breach. Technically, it wasn't made for Security Breach because that was a miscommunication, but still, we wanted to bring him back, but he's dead. So here's a program that's recreating him. That was my take for what the Mimic's role is, at least early on. Now the Mimic is its own character, well and truly just its own thing. Like, we even kill Glitch Trap in Help Wanted 2, so I feel like pretty soon we're going to stop seeing Afton connections to the Mimic at all. I don't think that'll be next game. I think next game there'll still be some element of that, but I've completely forgot. I went on a tangent, completely forgot where I was up to. Got my train of thought, so... M1 itself isn't good, so it's trying to kill Arnold's Mimic. Yep, I've been saying that for a while. Star Development 2022. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, that's true, actually. 2022, that was... Yeah, all the hate towards the book Mimic stuff happened in 2023, didn't it? Ah! Wait, we have a source. I was bored last night and listed out a bunch of shit. Here's every Five Nights at Freddy's release in order of release. The Mimic first appeared in Tales from the Pizzaplex 5, I think? So that should be... is that 2023? Yeah, 2023. No, actually, because he appeared in the epilogue. So I don't know if he appeared in the first epilogue, but he definitely appeared in the second. So 2022 would have been the actual Tales introduction. You know, that it lines up actually perfectly with the book introduction, but the negative reception from it coming to the games only came as a result of Ruin in 2023. So you're 100% right there. I didn't even think about that. You're right, the poor timing they couldn't do anything about, they didn't know. Oh, like Markiplier did say, I miss the old FNAF one, but yeah. I love new era FNAF, but I'm starting to see why people miss the old. Yeah, so just been here for FNAF 2. Same, been around for the same amount of time. December 2014, specifically. Because I found Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and my introduction of Five Nights at Freddy's from going to someone's house at a Christmas party, and they were playing Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So because I knew it was a Christmas party, December 2014 is when I became a FNAF fan. Borderline fanfiction warning. Oh, sweet. This is gonna... no, I shouldn't do that. I think Scott could go for Fazent being the main villain. I think so too. Possibly pull a cool narrative out of businessman stumble upon Mimic AI. Yeah, I think this arc is about the Mimic, and is gonna still focus on the Mimic, but if there ever comes around to being an arc 3, I fully expect it to either be A, going back, fleshing out the old characters in the old era, because modern Five Nights at Freddy's has approaches storytelling very different than the classic Five Nights at Freddy's, especially in terms of characters. I think the one thing that modern Five Nights at Freddy's does better in terms of like the story, is it's way better at fleshing out characters, and it feels like the old characters are kind of done dirty now. Like the Murrays, like they're more developed than everyone in the classic era of games. And they're basically background characters in one game that will never appear again. Aside from maybe Edwin. Edwin might appear again, because I think he's alive. But aside from Edwin, like Fiona, he's not going to appear again. I'm pretty confident in that. And yet she's still a better character than most of the classic era characters. because the modern Five Freddy's puts emphasis on the character-driven story and building them up and telling their stories and showing their emotions. And I feel like what we really need, what Five Freddy's could really want, a lot of people say they want a reboot, but I think not a reboot. Keep the same timeline, but go back to those early game time period with the modern Five Freddy's storytelling, that we get new stories of those old characters, but with the modern approach of those characters, so that we get those old characters like fleshed out properly. That's what I want Five Freddy's to do. However, I will admit, I don't know how likely it is for Scott Cawthon to go back to that. If they're going to do another like story arc and going to do a whole new villain instead of going back and fleshing out the old ones better, I could definitely see. No, Fazbear Entertainment's just the choice, honestly. They're very clearly building up Fazbear Entertainment as really evil recently. So, either A, Fazbear Entertainment's going to be like a major villain by the end of the Mimic arc, or B, they're building up Fazbear Entertainment to make them the next big villain. So I 100% agree with you, even though that I want them to go back and flesh those characters out better. I do think it's honestly more likely that you are 100% right and that it'll be Fazbear Entertainment next. Elements with correct remnant, physics-based magic, him going on about... Oh, yeah. Stuff about... Yep. If it's a Fredbear's game, it needs to be sit and survive. It needs to at least have elements. Because I think every FNAF game needs to have elements of those classic games. Mr. Burrows, yeah, he's the one that owns Fazbear Entertainment and Tails, yeah. We still don't know what Burntrap was originally supposed to be. Scott says he was never supposed to move like a decayed movie prop. We don't know what it could have been. Yeah, we don't know. I think Edwin is Old Man Consequences. A lot of people believe that. I don't know. I just don't see it. I know the theory, because like Old Man Consequences appears in like the games, and Edwin Murray's like this inventor who could have immortalized himself as like this AI, and therefore like the whole video game spirit world connection thing, so Old Man Consequences could be tied to that. Personally, I just think Old Man Consequences is his own entity. I don't think he's a human character. I think F10 and 4 is technically the main villain, M2 is the main physical threat, F10 and 4 is mastermind. Yeah, I've been saying pretty much, yeah, that I want M1 to be the main villain. Homesick could be a senior. I don't know about that. Murray Senior isn't even like the inventor. Like Edwin Murray Senior was running it still as a costume matter. It was regular Edwin Murray that started trying to make his insane inventions. He's the inventor guy. I don't think the Old Man Consequences, like, connect. The only way you can make the Old Man Consequences connection is by going along the lines of, like, the code, and, like, going the code direction. Inventor code thing. Whereas that connection doesn't exist with Murray Sr. So I don't think the evidence is really there for that for me. Anyway, I don't like pausing videos for too long. I'm gonna continue this for a while, and finish this toast which has now gone cold.
And we get this brand new reply from Steel Wool saying, we promised we would be better about communication moving forward, and we want to live up to that. We've decided that we are going to hold back on PC VR a little bit longer. Instead of launching it and then doing a quick turnaround patch, our original plan, we are going to roll in the patch fixes and updates directly to the PC VR launch build. We are also going to incorporate fixes to some of the main issues we're seeing in the current community playthroughs. Our goal is to launch a higher quality PC VR edition and then patch the PSVR 2 version so that there is a complete parity between the two platforms. We are working hard with our porting partners at Devoted Studios with the goal of getting the PC VR launch and PSVR 2 patch ready within the next 2 weeks. We know it's frustrating when it appears that we aren't communicating, and that can come across as if we're not paying attention. That cannot be further from the truth. We take this community very seriously because the community is what makes everything we do worthwhile. While I wish we could always be perfect, we do always strive to do better. I really like this response from Steelwool, and I want to take it paragraph by paragraph. First up, totally fine that they're delaying PC VR. Again, I would much rather wait for a finished, more quality product than what their original plan was going to be, which I can't believe. Steelwool, with all due respect, please never do this. Yeah. Launching a product and then doing a quick turnaround patch, which means you're launching it with the knowledge that there's still work to be done with it. There's still bugs, which is exactly what happened with the PC VR2 version. They launched it knowing that there was still stuff to fix. And as a result of that, we saw so many fans online express disappointment, dissatisfaction, malice towards the company and towards the FNAF franchise as a whole. I don't know who's setting the release dates or the deadlines, whether that's Steelwool, Scott, Sony. I don't care who's setting them, but please allow your projects time to cook properly. Because unfortunately, this is the response the community is going to give to those unfinished products, to those buggy products. Because in those cases, it doesn't seem like you care, and I know that you do, so please, in the future, just give your projects more time.
Yeah, 100%. I've eaten my toast now, so no more of that. No more silence while I eat. Why did you need the threat of Fazbear Entertainment Pros and you didn't trust them? That's true, but Ultimate Consequences isn't exactly a character who's actively going against Fazbear. Like, he's more so tying to the spirits and stuff. OMC, to me, is clear representation of forces beyond spirits. Yeah, I think, to me, it's like some other weird entity. I think it's his own thing. No one tested this before releasing it. They did. That's the annoying thing. They tested it, found the bugs, and then said, yeah, we're gonna drop it like this. That's secret of the middle management. Oh. 5 miscommunications at Freddy's, secret of the marketing.
There was also a lot of fans talking about the fact that the VR mode was outsourced to another company, meaning Steelwool pretty much hired another company to work on the VR.
I'm still so certain that them heading off to another company is so that they had time to work on the next Five Nights at Freddy's game. I totally think it is. I so think it is. I don't know what else to add to that. You want to go have a good stream? Yeah, I will. I'll probably end this like after watching another video or two, depending on how it's going. There's a chance I watch like Raito's theory as well just while I'm here. It'd be fun to do a theory reaction. I don't really do reactions. I did one reaction video in the past. And I don't know. Wasn't my thing.
VR version.
I think it'd be more fun on a stream though.
I don't really have a problem with that. That's totally understandable. We know Steelwool is hard at work on the next mainline FNAF game.
Yeah.
And with VR mode taking up a lot of time and money, and it's going to be a free update to an already existing year-old FNAF game, it totally makes sense why they would want to outsource that work to other people so they can still focus on the next FNAF game. I don't have a problem with that at all. Yep. But again, it does lead to a thing where it's like there needs to be good quality checks in place by Devoted Studios, by Steelwool, by Scott, by Sony, by everyone, to make sure that, again, these products are ready for launch. It's not just the games. You know, recently there was the FNAF 2 movie novel that fans really wish had better quality checks in place. Communication, patience, time management, respect. I think there's a very valuable lesson to learn with this whole Secret of the Mimic VR situation. And I really do hope that Steelwool lives up to the communication promise that they're making here.
That's the big thing, yeah.
Steelwool does care about.
That's the big thing people are asking for, is they really want Steelwool to keep it up. It's like, this is fine, this is a good reaction and a good response, but this response also implies that they're going to keep this up in the future as well, so we need to make sure that they really hope that they really stay to that. And this isn't just a, okay, well, we've fixed it now with a post, let's just not do it again. I really hope they do keep up.
About this franchise, it does care about this community, and, you know, as they point out here, sometimes when there's no communication, it doesn't feel that way. So I really do hope that we get more communication from them and from FNAF overall. So hopefully in the next coming weeks we can get more updates from Steelwool on PC VR, on PSVR 2 patch, and I really do hope this is just the start for better communication with FNAF. I saw a lot of people online saying, bro, you know things are bad, when even Johnny Blocks is saying stuff. But I've been saying all this stuff recently because I truly do care. But it's just been so disheartening these past couple months, going online and seeing tweets and seeing videos from all these fans who no longer want to be fans, who think FNAF is completely dead, it's a lost cause, who want all the money out of here, they think there's no fixing it, and FNAF is just doomed. And I feel like a large portion of that response is because we have such a lack of quality control, such a lack of communication, such a lack of proper marketing. 100%. I will say, a few days ago now, I did send in a personal pitch to Scott that I've been working on for a very long time, offering my assistance, feedback I've seen from the community on what they want to see, especially with communication. I've yet to hear anything back, and I really do hope that these recent criticisms of mine aren't holding anything back from my feedback being used or my assistance being used. Because I'm saying all this because I truly do care. So I really do hope that
Yo,
this whole
Johnny Block's
situation
pitching
will
ideas
lead
to Scott.
and
That's
seemingly it is
awesome.
now, the
Lock
start of a
in.
brand new era of communication, quality control,
Yeah.
marketing with FNAF, because that's what we really need right now. But I feel like I have rambled enough, so I'm just gonna leave.
All good on
the
my
video
worst, dude.
here. Hopefully,
You kept it under 10 minutes.
you tolerated
My video was
rambling.
20 minutes.
Hopefully, guys have a good rest of the weekend, and hopefully, I'll see you in a couple weeks for Secret of the Mimic VR. Bye.
Yeah. I'm so excited to play it. I'll be entering the era of communication. That post specifically, I feel like Steel will severely needs to actually start promoting things months in advance, consistent, right? Promotion cycle is reveal thing, wait several months radio silence, reveal new things 1 week. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah. But they fix it this time. Yep. Yeah, the meta players are... Yeah, that's gonna be a yikes. Because the post said likely 2026, which implies it might not even be 2026. Oh god, meta players, I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, if Johnny ran something officially, that'd be awesome. I'm going to wait till it's fixed. Yeah, well, yeah, I would agree. Alright, I'm seeing chat move so much. Okay, chat, you're locking in. Really wish Scott understood that he can't pump out proper full AA games at the same speed he made small click-team point-click games. Yeah, I mean, I think he learned that lesson from Security Breach. Is like, that Security Breach was supposed to come out in 2020. What the hell did that game look like in 2020? Oh god, you thought it was bad in 2020, December 2021. I can't imagine what 2020 Security Breach would have been like. Oh, give the official FNAF account to Johnny Blocks. Yeah, hi Johnny Blocks. Hi. Thanks for joining the stream. And thanks for the banger appearance of me.
Who streamed the game? Only a handful of
I got pinged by a bunch of people in Discord about this. Okay, you know what I'm looking. I was like, dude, you're in a Johnny Blocks video. I'm like, what? That's crazy. Absolute W. And I really hope that your pitch to Scott goes through really well, because I definitely... You're really good at keeping up to date on everything, keeping everyone else up to date on everything. You're really good at that both on multiple sites too. I've seen you on Twitter and YouTube. Don't know if you use others, but like, I've seen you're really active on like keeping everyone in the loop in all these places. You're really good at this, so I really hope that whatever you pitch to Scott goes through. Yeah, good luck with that. No, he doesn't know. Really laggy, unfinished version of survival mode. I'm sad that never got finished. They tried to finish it in Ruin, but it's still unfinished in Ruin, and they couldn't finish it. I wish they finished it, because survival mode looks like it would have been so much fun. Because one of the things I love about Security Breach, is such a weird little thing to love about that game, is that the collectible finding. The Pizzaplex is so big, such a detailed area. Trying to find things in the Pizzaplex is a really fun collectible hunt. Not gonna lie, even if the collectibles themselves are nothing collectibles, they're kind of fun to look for me. I haven't found them all on my recent series playthrough yet. But yeah, there's a lot there. I really love trying to look for everything. And having a game mode dedicated to, oh, you have to get security passes to get into new areas, so you like have to play the actual game normally, like getting into places. And also, it's a collectible hunt. It's like all the best parts of Security Breach in one, if they could pull it off, but unfortunately they couldn't pull it off, which I understand that much. As much as it was a shame that they couldn't finish it, I do understand that there is development troubles, and the fact that they came back to it in Ruin and failed again means that they definitely wanted to do it. It's not a case of, oh, they just abandoned it because they were lazy. No, they gave it a solid crack again. So, it's just a shame, but development troubles are like that. Hope it goes through as well. Obviously, Twitter is a large part of what I shared. Having so many people support for what I do helps out a lot, for sure. It was a whole game initially. Yeah, I heard about that. I think it would have been different to the actual survival mode, because survival mode was just a collectible hunt across the Pizzaplex. I still think there would have been more. I think a more sandbox style of game was the original plan. I don't think the original plan was just a collectible hunt. I think the original plan was still, oh, you, more like the base game in a sandbox environment. It's just a less structured version of the base game. Like a weird fusion of the base game and survival mode, I think was what it was originally intended to be like. And survival mode was like scrapping the concepts that didn't make the cut and turning it into something new again. Because I too think that things like shattering the animatronics would have been a part of the base game still. Like, that was promoted really early on. And of course that has story implications, and I don't think those things would have been in survival mode. To be honest, I quite did enjoy Security Breach. That's my favorite FNAF game. The game made me come back to the franchise. I'm now so mixed on Security Breach. On one hand, I love it. I keep coming back to the game. It keeps luring me in. I keep wanting to play more. I keep coming back to that game. I love how much there is to do, how much there is to find, all the enemies you can get, how you can take different paths in the main game, and they all have gameplay consequences. It's not just a dialogue press that changes, like, the ending you get. No, like, you change the gameplay experience that you have, depending on the route you take. And that is so many cool player agency moments in that game that I really love. I really love that. At the same time, though, when you're playing through the base game, like the main game story, it's so scoffed. Like, when I'm playing Security Breach, it's like a big, oh, I love this so much. But then I'll encounter a section, and it'll be like, ooh, that could have been better. And then I come to the next section, it's like, ooh, that could have been better. And then, like, the entire playthrough is me going, ooh, that could have been better. Security Breach was rough, but I do like how it turned out, and I'm happy it released at all, because the game was made with the premise of being a really overscoped Five Nights at Freddy's game, and games made with the premise of being so big and large usually don't release at all. So the fact it came out at all, and in a state that I still really enjoyed, gives me a lot of respect for, like, the developers behind that game. I know that it released poorly, and that kind of takes away from it a bit, but I respect Security Breach on a weird level, and I really enjoy the game, but at the same time, ooh, that doesn't take away the fact it was a really rough game, and still is. Oh. True, did you ask maybe a bit more time to devs workshopping? Honestly, I think they'll improve that in the next game. Like I said before, I think the biggest complaint with, like, Secret of the Mimic, like, every game, not only is it made from criticisms, but it's specifically criticisms from the previous as well. And Secret of the Mimic's biggest criticism was that it didn't feel like a Five Nights at Freddy's game in terms of its gameplay. So, like, at least Security Breach, whatever, it had, like, a million complaints. Like, I can understand why not every single one of them got fixed up in Secret of the Mimic. But Secret of the Mimic was such a solid experience otherwise, that I think that complaint now really stands out. So I would be really, really surprised if the next game didn't lean into more interesting gameplay mechanics. Because that's, like, the big thing I feel like they've got to learn from the big secret. Characters that introduce you to FNAF. Oh yeah, cool. Really excited for Blast of the Past. Oh, is that gonna release? I forgot about that mod. Not gonna lie, mods like that, and fan games as well, that feel like they're really big, I look at that and think that's not gonna release. I wouldn't be surprised if Blast of the Past never came out. Not gonna lie. If it does, it'd be really cool though. But in the meantime, I've got a lot of other cool mods too. Like, I've got a bunch of mods for Security Breach actually. Let's whip them out. I got my Security Breach mod list. Ignore that I've got every random troll game and stuff on listed on Steam. Browse local files. Yeah, I've got my mods folder, baby. We've got the 1 in 1,000 chance for Withered Foxy jump scare, normal and lethal. We've got an AI change, which makes it so that the enemy AIs roam areas and slowly close in on you, and, like, they free roam around the place. That's this. There's one that also changes visuals for some reason. I believe that's that. Yep. Cut content restored. You've seen that one. That's a mod that, like, adds back a bunch of cut content, and it's pretty much the closest we get to a mod that adds back all the cut content at this point. Recently got an update, by the way. There was a period of time where the developer took it down, but they put it back up and updated it. So that's pretty cool. Improved aggressive AI. This one, like, just makes the enemies harder. but it also removed the staff block teleportation, which is goated, by the way. And yeah, they also apparently, the main file actually adds more voice lines too, from that were unused. Polar's custom maps lobby airlock. No, it's just a mod that adds in the lobby airlock. Pizzaplex Archives Restored is like a rebrand of Pizzaplex Airlocks Restored, which just adds back a bunch of cut areas. Now, Repaired Ground Collide is just a thing that's tacked on one of these AI mods just to make it compatible with other mods. Basement 2 main restored is like the mod that restores the basements, and the boiler missions are part of that. So yeah, most of these mods actually work together too, by the way. Cut Content Restored doesn't work with anything, but I can combine Pizzaplex Airlocks Restored, Basement 2, Boiler Mission, Lobby Airlock, Hard AI, probably, yeah, the hiding spots. We don't want to do the ultimate visuals, so that might have a bug. Toss that in with the Withered Fox jump scare for shits and giggles. I also have like these ones. These ones are really small mods that I just have on at all times. I actually didn't use this one because it didn't fix the bug I thought it was going to fix. But Freddy's supposed to have blue eyes, and it's supposed to change to yellow once put in Roxy's eyes. Don't know if you guys have noticed, but Freddy's supposed to have blue eyes, but he has yellow. Roxy has yellow eyes. So basically, there's a bug in the game where Freddy has Roxy's eyes all the time. So this mod just fixes that bug and gives him blue eyes when he's not supposed to have yellow eyes. 4.2 Cassie and Switch Ruin Freddy. These are just ports from, these mods port features from the Switch version. Because the Switch version made a couple of little changes. Like it replaced Cassie's model with the 4.2 model, and it replaced Ruin Freddy's model. No, it didn't replace model, but it slightly changed it, and it's just slightly different for some reason. Like, for some reason, like, the new Freddy model has, like, Chica's eye. Not Roxy's eye, Chica's eye. Weird. And, of course, like, the debug menu. So these mods I have active all the time, because, like, to me, this is just a small, tiny quality of life thing that just, it feels like it should be there. Like, fixing a bug and things that the main games already did on ports. These, like, if I want to have a really modded experience, I can load up either cut content restored, or more accurately, or just load up freaking everything. And to top it all off, I have the Chaos mod. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the Chaos mod. It's a crash simulator, really. The game crashes so often, but it's really interesting. It adds like a bunch of really, like, it basically means every few seconds an event happens, which just screws with the game. So it's a lot of fun when it's not crashing. I plan to make a video with this mod on, because it's kind of awesome. Yeah, that's my security breach mod collection. There's a bit more info on what Soul Mode really was. Really quite interesting to look into. Yeah. Yeah, I've looked into like all the security breach cut content. I have gone well and truly in that rabbit hole. There's a development update yesterday. There is a dev update yesterday. Should check out. Oh, you talking about cut content restored? Yeah, no, I said that they updated it. Oh wait, do you mean they updated it again? Hang on. Yesterday. Wait, okay, hang on. But yeah, no, yesterday's a bit recent, actually. Yeah, this is the one I knew of. 1.3. Which one were you talking about? What thing were you talking about when you said they got a dev update yesterday? Because I follow all of these mods. I follow, like, outside of cut content restored, I refresh their pages constantly. So, like, I feel like I've got... If I don't have it, I'll grab it soon. Oh, Blast the Past. Right, Blast the Past. That's what you're talking about. They posted dev up. Blast the Past posted dev update yesterday. Okay, sorry. Yep, alright, cool. Sorry, it took me a while to catch on. Cut content restored. The Remains, Blast the Past are all doing different things. Cut content restored is adding cut stuff in the final campaign. Remains is all unfinished story mode content. Yeah, no, they are all different, you're right, but they all kind of run that theme of adding back a lot of cut content, and they aren't compatible with each other. So you're gonna have to only pick one. So pick your favorite. My favorite is not cut content restored because it gives you less save stations. I don't know if they changed that, but I kept reading the patch notes, and I still haven't found any patch notes that said they let you save more often. So, like, in fact, I've found patch notes saying the opposite, saying that some save stations are available when they shouldn't be. It's like, dude, stop removing save stations. Oh. Last boss is destroying the whole game being summoned. Oh, that's sick. Got actual people in this stream. Hey, my Five Nights at Freddy's streams tend to do pretty well. Usually. Yeah. Especially ones based off, like, news. Actually, this is a weird one. People don't even know this one is news. No one clicked on this video knowing what it was going to be about. I mean, some people may have watched Johnny Blocks and thought, yo, would it be mad funny? And maybe they could have taken a guess. Like, if they're on this screen right now, just watched Johnny Blocks and then saw that, maybe they'd make the connection. No one here knew what I was going to be talking about this video. For all you knew, I was going to be playing Minecraft in this stream. I totally want to do more Minecraft videos, but I just don't know what to do with Minecraft. And it's going to be, the longer, no amount of time I do without doing Minecraft content, the harder it can go, the harder it is to start doing it later. But also, I have no ideas for what I want to do with it. One day, I'm going to throw some Five Nights at Freddy's mods in, so horror mods, play it in VR, and like horror mods around, and that'll be a fun experience. At the very least, I'll do that, but I don't know how soon that will be. I'm like true to Steel's game design vision. 6 AM, so GM autosaves. Oh my god. I say that these games, that the recent stuff released in a good state. Most of the recent releases did at least have one big bug, but one big bug's like reasonable. I remember playing Secret of the Mimic on launch, and if you guys didn't know, Secret of the Mimic on launch didn't save environments, props, or other entities in your save file. It only saved your state. This meant that, for example, if you were in like the elevator section and you died in the elevator, it won't save that the platform was out, but it will save you under the elevator. I mean, you'd get soft-locked under the elevator. Or, if you're like me, I died in the spring-lock suit section. It did not save where my spring-lock suit was, so I didn't have a spring-lock suit anymore, so I was stuck in a section where I couldn't go anywhere because the only way to get out of that section is to have the spring-lock suit and go into the thing. So, there was some soft-lock issues with the save system on launch Secret of the Mimic. Thankfully, they fixed that pretty quickly, though. Play Create Aeronautics. I'll definitely... No, I like Create, but I'll have to look into it, because Create's one of those mods that's very jarring. Like, once you add Create to a mod pack, Create takes a very big... It has a very big presence. So, like, it's one of those things where you can't just throw in willy-nilly, which is funny to say, because almost every mod pack developer just throws it in willy-nilly. I'm not lazy. If I make a mod pack, it's going to be good, it's going to be well-designed, it's going to be fully configured, things are going to be modified to be more compatible with each other. I will put effort into any mod pack that I make. Things like Create are not just going to be thrown in for shits and giggles. Now, that being said, Create is cool, so, I'll definitely see if it fits my vision. I'll play around with it and see if I'll want it there or not. So, but I can't promise anything. Also, dev update for Blast of the Past, they showed the Freddy cutscene where Freddy meets Gregory in the actual cutscene instead of controlling Freddy. Oh, that's cool. Aeronautics is the one that has full physics. Oh, Jesus. Wait a minute, is that the one that lets you create, like, wait, is that one that create, like, airships? Because there's, like, there's a lot of, airship, like, type mods where, like, play flocks together and they can fly around and stuff. Is that, like, the Crate version of that? Because if so, integrating that into Create functionality would be really cool. For the product provides assembly of redstone components. Love me some redstone. Aeronautics enables all manner of flying contraptions. Oh, it is, isn't it? No, this is sick. If I have Create, this is a mod I'll be grabbing 100% as long as it's on my version of the game. And that is the catch. Only available on 1.21.1. That's the catch here. Actually, it might, more mod developers use Modrinth, actually. It might be more up-to-date here. Might be on more versions here. But I usually use older versions in this. So, yeah. That's the catch. If I could, I would. But my mod pack that I'm developing right now, I say right now, I haven't touched it in a long time, is 1.16.5. Because there's a lot of mods in 1.16.5 that I really wanted that were not brought to later versions. So I'm kind of stuck on that version now with my mod pack. But if I do something with 1.21.1, for sure, for sure. Like with my VR mod pack, if I do like a VR horror mod pack, that will be whatever our later version is. I think it'll be significantly later, 1.16, because 5craft's in like the recent version. Actually, what is 5craft? I've got the mod pack, or I've got Vivecraft already here. What is it on? ATL. I use that launcher, by the way. I'm gonna check what version of Minecraft it is. Add lean in Minecraft. I might. If I make a mod pack and like finish it and stuff, I will make a mod, because I know how to make mods. I will make a mod that references my stuff. Like I put my things in literally everything I touch. Like you also, some of y'all saw my Frick Bears stream. I modded in Lean Monster Gaming as the main protagonist for that. I mean, that's not a mod, really. It's called a mod, they called it a mod, but it's a custom character. It's not really modding. Yeah, 1.21.5, so this would be, so that would probably be compatible on, like, this version of the game. So, yeah. I forgot where I was going with it, so I'm just going back to chat. Yeah, I mod my things in everything, so don't worry. If I get around to doing any videos in Minecraft, there will be modded Lean Sim stuff in there. First one that had physics to make boats, cars, yeah, yep. They wrote an entire physics engine for it from complete scratch. That's insane. I mean, you'd have to, right? You couldn't do that with base physics engine. I want to watch this. Are we cool with watching the Rye Toast? We got a 22-minute Rye Toast video. How long do you reckon this will be stretched out for? No drop frames? No drop frames. Good. Probably too late to check that. If there was, I would have been in trouble. Oh, Withered Circle uploaded yesterday. Oh, maybe I'll watch that too. Oh, it's an hour long, it's not on stream. That'll be in my own time. By the way, guys, between us, my goal in the Five Nights at Freddy's community, this is like my actual goal, is to become major enough to get on a live stream, not a live stream, but get on a podcast with Rye Toast. At least a podcast, because I want there to be 2 toasts in one stream. That's it. Just for the joke of having 2 toasts in one place. That's my goal. Want to see this? Well, I would recommend to, if you're on computer, open it in a new tab and keep it going, because he deserves, like, the likes and, like, retention time. Because I'm going to be watching it here, and I'd feel like a dick if I stole a view. Rye Toast only has 100, like, tens of thousands of views. You can't sacrifice one. It needs to be butter in between. No, that'd be so funny. Get, like, every Five Freddy's content creator with, like, a food in their name that would belong on, like, a burger or something. There's gotta be a few. There's gotta be a few, right? It's not just the bread people. I know there's at least like one more that would totally belong in that theme. Not that I know, if any off the top of my head. Anyway, by the way, was the videos loud enough? I'm gonna turn up this, because it's gonna be a little bit longer. Sorry I did always do watching reactions or streams, you are the GOAT. Alright. Let's see what Rye Toast has to offer us. This next FNAF game will expose the past. Well, I'm pretty sure, like, literally every Five Nights at Freddy's game does that to some extent. So, I bet you're right. Actually, I'm curious. Wait, hang on. Does every FNAF game expose the past to some extent? Sorry. If I'm going down a mental hole, I'm getting this over with before I push play. Obviously, 1, because it talked about missing children incident. 2 is a prequel, so obviously. 3 kinda doesn't, to be fair. Because 3 just covers, it's way in the future, and it only covers stuff from the same Freddy's. To be fair, it does cover stuff from the early Freddy's that we hadn't seen before, so to some extent, yeah, because Spring Bonnie and stuff is like from the early Freddy's now. Funnily enough, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 does not establish that Spring Bonnie comes from Fredbear's. According to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, all you know is that they're at Freddy's, which I think is kind of funny, that you only know that they're Fredbear's characters from 4. Speaking of, 4, obviously Fredbear's, so that definitely counts. Sister Location. I mean, it has a past to an extent with Elizabeth's death, but that's very isolated and not connected to the past like the original story. That one's kind of iffy. Pizzeria Simulator is just tacked on at the end. I don't know if anything from Pizzeria Simulator ties into the past. Like, Midnight Motorist maybe, but Midnight Motorist didn't expose anything. It just left people confused. So, no, I think Pizzeria Simulator is our first exception. First game, it doesn't really dive into the past, because it's just closing off the end. Same as Ultimate Custom Night. Unless you count, like, the Fredbear Easter egg as, like, a notable thing in the past, which I guess you probably could, but I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we counted FNAF 3 for Spring Ronnie, so I guess probably should. Help Wanted definitely doesn't, because that's just, again, new stuff. The Security Breach introduced Fredbear's singing show, and some stuff from, like, the Fredbear's era. So, in an extent, some of it did there, too. Yeah, Help Wanted 2 talked about Fall Fest and gassed that up a lot. Oh no, Help Wanted did as well, so I guess Help Wanted does count. So, yeah, almost every Five Nights at Freddy's game, to an extent, it shows something further in the past. Even if it's small or it's large. Obviously, this video is going to be saying it's going to be like a big deal. I was just curious. I just wanted to go down that hole. It would be some kind of Fazbear. Yeah, actually, I'm curious. What do you guys think is under the Pizzaplex? How many things are there? Because obviously, Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex, and then beneath that is Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. Which is what weirds me out when I watch Riot Toast, and he actually says quite often that he believes that the Actually, that's not Pizza. I just went on a completely different thing. I just confused in my mind. Anyway, we've got Pizzaplex, the Pizza Place, and then do we think? I think Sister Location is down there, but only because of like Ruin connections, Help Wanted 2 connections, because and guess some Maurice Costume connections. Because the thing is, the big evidence people had for Sister Location being down there was that they thought that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place was Fredbear's, and they thought that because they thought Charlie died at Fredbear's. But we now know from the Ticket to Fun Ephemera kit, this thing that's now collected dust on my desk, that Charlie died at Freddy's. So every connection relying on Charlie's death being at Fredbear's no longer works, and unfortunately, that was the only connection between Pizza Sim and Sister Location. At least in terms of like the setting. Now that being said, again, I still do think Sister Location is down there at this point. And from that of course means Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is connected, Fredbear's is connected, I think Sister Location is Murray's, so that's connected. Of course, a bunch of epilogue games like Help Wanted, Ultimate Custom Night, down at Tangible, so don't need to be connected to all this. So that's like quite a few locations down there. Do you believe Fuzzburgers? You think it's MCM's this location? You think Pizza Sim is Fredbear's and FNAF 2? Wait, how do you get FNAF 2 out of that? FNAF 2 doesn't look anything like Pizza Sim location. I feel like that's a weird connection to make. There are more. List one. 2+4 theory. That's true. That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Okay. I don't know about 2 is Pizza Sim, though. I still don't know. I don't know what the Pizza Sim and Fredbear's connection is, because Charlie's death is literally the only one I knew about. I mean, again, I guess, like, if Sister Location's down there, then that would imply it is the case either way. I guess now with the implication of Sister Location, that would retroactively add more evidence to that theory too. Like, outside of that stuff, like, what else connects Pizza Sim to Fredbear's? Especially with the knowledge... Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna go into that. I'm gonna continue that sentence. Yeah, just let me know what that is. I'm gonna stop going forward, and then I'll respond when I see.
I know it's a bold claim to make.
This is quiet for me. I don't know how loud that is for you. I turned up the videos, hopefully a little bit louder. I'm not PC, so I like access to virtual board. Maybe shorty. That's all good, that's all good.
But, like, hear me out. I've been thinking a lot about how Sister Location might be incredibly relevant very soon in Five Nights at Freddy's, as in the next game. And recently, I got 2 questions to the podcast that might show us exactly what we're going to see in that next game.
I watch all his podcasts, by the way. I actually watch Riot Toast's podcast more than I do his videos. I don't know, I just like the format more. Because the videos are all about, like, oh, here's a theory, here's me selling you a theory, here's me explaining a theory. Whereas the podcasts are about just exploring various avenues from different people with their questions or his own thought processes. And I definitely think I like the covering many different avenues format a lot more than the singular, here's our theory format that every other YouTuber does. The podcasts are like unique, and I just like them more. And a lot of the time, the videos also just adapt things from the podcast, so not gonna lie, there are actually quite a few times I just only watch the podcasts and skip videos, to be honest. Yeah, I love the podcasts. Yeah, he talks in such a nice way. Yeah, his voices are great. I love his voice. He should do more of it. It helps me work. He does it he does it consistently. So yeah, I like that too. I love his voice. I want to reach out to him. So, as you know, if you're like following my channel for a bit, which you have been because I see you pretty often, I think. You know I'm a developer. I do work on games. I've worked on like Lean Simulator Desperation. I made that game. I made a Advanced Freddy's Mimic of the Sekra, a Secret Mimic fan game. I'm now working on making Chica's Secret Party a real thing, which by the way, I told Rye Toast about and he seems interested. And working on that. And I'm also working on 2 more projects I've now announced in different places, but that's after Chica's Secret Party. The Secret Party is kind of my priority at the moment. And one of those things I'm working on is, of course, my next main game. The big thing, the thing that's not a fan game, the thing that follows on from the like Lean Sim, or follows loosely, the resurgence of Tobias Lennon. I want to try and, in early material, promo material, it'll be me voicing the character, but I want to try and get like voice actors and a couple of other people like help make that game better. I'm going to start all the early demos and stuff will be entirely me. I want to make it all myself first, but I know for a fact that I can't do everything myself, and I have had people like tell me, oh, this is things that you need to do better at, and I look at it and I go, I can't do that. I'm going to need some help. So I want to try and get some assistance with how that game turns out. And one of the things I want to do is I want to try and get some voice actors in. So I'm going to try and reach out to a couple of Fights Freddy's content creators that I like, see if they'd be interested, because I know a couple of them are really interested in like doing voice acting. Riot Toast is one of them. I actually want Riot Toast to voice the main character, Tobias Lennon. I think his voice would go really great with it. Maybe like him doing like a bit of a, putting on a little bit of a deeper voice, because Tobias in my performances tends to be a little deeper or something. But aside from that, like, just him doing, like, pulling a little bit of a deeper voice, I think would work really well for Tobias. And I know it's really funny, I don't know if he'll see it. I think Riot Toast will probably see it, but I don't know about, I want to try and reach out to Dorko as well, because I have a little creature character who I think would be really fun if voiced by Dorko. I think his energy would really bring that character to life perfectly, but that would require me to get big enough to get in contact with Dorko. It's hard to get in contact with him, actually. But I want to get his voice performance for that little character. Now, I'm scoping, as I saw, I've got a couple of friends or two I want to kind of reach out to, and I've got a couple of people in mind that I wanted to reach out to for voice acting performances. And asset creation performances as well. Yeah, that was a tangent. But yeah, like his voice.
And if they're right, it could shake up everything we thought we knew about Sister Location and what William Afton's goals for that facility were.
Yeah, every game shakes up everything we knew about something. The Monster Gaming voiced by Dorko. The Monster Gaming will not be appearing in the resurgence of Tobias Lennon, because I'm trying to separate it from Lean Sim. I don't want people to like need to know my meme game to play what's really a serious horror game. So even though there's a lot of like, overlap because it's same setting, same characters in a way, it's an entirely different story, and I want it to stand completely independently. So the Monster Gaming will not appear, or if it does, it'll be an extremely one-off minor appearance. I'm trying to reach out to Dorko for a more major character.
Slices, put on your aprons and let's bake ourselves a theory. Now, I already hear some of you. For where we are in the story, why would we be going back to Sister Location? Well, it actually has a lot to do with what we see at the end of Security Breach Ruin.
Yeah, because of, this, first of all, the scooper, and 2, the fan. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a bad habit. Because I'm doing a reaction kind of thing here, I'm talking about it, do keep in mind, I am going to be pausing every few seconds. Because otherwise I'm just playing the video. No, I'm the type of person to constantly pause and comment. But yeah, and also, another thing with me, is that I'm pretty deep into Five Nights at Freddy's. So there's a lot of times where just looking at the title alone, I'll know what evidence I'll whip out. So yeah, obviously the character's just like, I shouldn't even bother, I'll just let him say this part, because this is location connections, like the end of like Ruin with like the elevator, like there's a stylized, the corridor to the elevator like stylized, like sister location. There's the at the end the scooper, as he says, which even though it's weird in narrative perspective, it also ties in a thematic perspective. But then there's also Help Wanted 2, which nailed down sister location with Pizzaplex levels for some reason. And then of course, yeah, so.
And frankly, I've talked about this plenty on the channel.
And also, Murray's is almost definitely location, I think, because Afton took the land. And it's the same setup. Underground facility connected to a bigger facility above ground and a house. Same thing. Underground facility, so it's entertainment rentals. There is an above ground part, you see it in Help Wanted, so there is some extent an above section of that. And there's Afton's house. Like, it's the same setup, so I am pretty confident in that as well. There's a lot of stuff recently alluding to this location, so yeah.
So I'll be very brief, but we should, for the sake of today's video, go over it. At the end of Ruin, we see Cassie running away from the FNAF 6 location through a series of caves and ending up in a room with a scooper. Now, not every room that has a scooper is going to be the sister location scooper. And frankly, this machine looks a lot different than this machine, which I went over in this video, and you can see right here, there's actually a good reason for it. But it seems likely that whatever this facility is, it was at one point the sister location bunker. And we get that from the layout we learn within Secret of the Mimic. In that game, we learn that this entire facility was built by Edwin Murray an incredibly long time ago, all a part of Murray's costume manor.
Oh, this is what I was meant to bring up earlier. Yeah, Raito seems to think that the underground pizzeria there is that he seems to think that the Murray's research and development is Five Nights at Freddy's 6. And there's even been a term on the podcast where someone said like, oh, it looks like sister location. And he kind of for a bit on that podcast tossed up whether between this location is sister location or pizzeria simulator. It's like, is it not FNAF 1? I don't know. I haven't seen him like address that yet. I've been curious to see, like, does he think that Pizzeria Simulator is a FNAF 1 location or something? I don't know exactly how that connects in, because I'm, like, 99% certain that research and development is Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It's got the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 characters, all the rooms are the same. So I don't really see how you look at this location and think, this is Pizzeria Simulator? Because Pizzeria Simulator doesn't look like Five Nights at Freddy's 1 to me. I don't quite get that still. Like, he says that a lot in a bunch of places. And I haven't quite understood that part yet. Yeah, that seems to be one of his theories that I'm kind of disagree on a bit. At least until I understand it maybe more.
And the secret experiments he was doing with the Mimic at the time. But he built the entire fake pizzeria we see in FNAF 6. He built the tunnel system that connects it to sister location. Because he built underground laboratories underneath what would eventually become the FNAF 4 house. This plot of land that MCM is on eventually becomes the plot of land the Pizzaplex is on. And if we look at a house on a hill, well, what does that look like besides the FNAF 4 house? And since we know sister location is underground somewhere near the FNAF 4 house, the fact that there are a series of underground laboratories right next to the house that becomes the FNAF 4 house, it all is so direct. It's basically confirmed that this layout was reused by William. I know this is a lot to just throw out so rapidly, but all I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of precedent that FNAF 6 and sister location are connected, or are at least nearby facilities underground that were at one point connected via tunnel.
Yeah,
so
I'd agree with that.
Cassie running away from the FNAF 6 location underground and not coming above ground, but ending up in a facility with a scooper, it is pretty fair to assume that she ended up in some version of sister location.
Yeah,
But that's
I
old
agree.
news. I've been saying that. Plenty of people have been saying that. Why might this next game that could take place at this location change everything we know about Five Nights at Freddy's?
Because it's this location's William Afton's like experiment area. So it pretty much this would be a game that really fleshes out William Afton a bit. It's kind of like William Afton's Mary's costume manner in a way. So it'd be even funnier because it's the same area. So I guess in a literal sense too. So I think that knowing a lot about William Afton and learning more about him could be huge. And also, that's another funny thing. Even though we've moved on for William Afton, every game since William Afton's death has still used William Afton to some extent. Like Help Wanted, Security Breach, Help Wanted 2, the Mimic is using the image of William Afton, assuming that even is the Mimic, which I do think it is. Secret of the Mimic, a big part of Murray's downfall was William Afton sabotaging it. And this next game, I'm almost certain, will be Sister Location. There's no way in hell that we'll have a game set in like the Sister Location Monka, except free roam and a lot bigger, that doesn't expand on William Afton. Like, it's definitely going to. Dude, if we get a new Sister Location game, I'll die happy. Yeah, I've been asking for this since Help Wanted. I mean, not vocally, because I wasn't in the community back then, but ever since Help Wanted was like, hey, you need to go down to sub-basement G. It's like, G? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's 7. That's 7 basements down. Why is this location suddenly, in the span of like one weird epilogue game, suddenly like 7 times bigger than what we knew? I want to see that. You can't just drop that and be like, nah, you only see like 3 rooms. No. I want to see it. And then you give us like the Pizzaplex, and it's like, yo, by the way, he's like a 7-story like Freddy's, because like it's 7-story, right? Because like ground floor itself is 2 floors. Floor 1, floor 2, 3. Floor 4 is a combination of everything it's above, so I think that itself is also 2 floors, like the arcade's 2 floors. So yeah, 7 floors above ground is the Pizzaplex, not including the below ground, basement 1, basement 2, and there is a basement 3, which is the sewers. Pizzaplex in total is like 10 floors, if you include the basements. Anywhere further down the basement 3 is below the Pizzaplex. Like, I don't think... Like, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place isn't part of the Pizzaplex, it's below it and connected to it. I don't consider that the same thing exactly, just connected to. The Pizzaplex itself is like 7 to 10 floors. Just freaking massive. So you can't be like, yo, this location is actually 7 floors big, and then hit us with, by the way, we can make games that are 7 floors big. And while also having lines like, be sure to visit our sister location, meaning there is a sister location around. That's like, come on, we got a modern Freddy's. We know there's a modern day Babies. Show us the modern day Babies. That's apparently probably also that big. I want to see it. I've been asking for that pretty much since 2019. I've been wanting to see that, so I'm really happy that there's a lot of evidence stacking up for that now. In like the past few years. It'd be so cool. I want it so much. What was he going on about it? Oh yeah, with Product Freddy's Assist Location Observatory. No, it's FNAF 1. And Phone Dude better be there. Feel my bones. Certified Phone Dude ruined truth. Dude, you'd be lucky if Phone Dude appears in the Five Freddy's 3 film at this rate. I mean, Ethan quotes him, so I guess he's Ethan.
Well, with a fairly subtle and sneaky, but incredibly likely, retcon. One that, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean we were wrong about anything, doesn't materially change anything, but recontextualizes what we thought we knew, and includes the new lore we've just received. Alright, I've teased it enough. What the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that only 40% of you guys are actually subscribed.
What?
It's completely free to do, and it really helps.
Yo, speaking of subscriber counts. You know what? Right, Toast, if you're shilling, I'ma do it too. Audience. How many of my viewers are subscribed, do we think? Only 17% of you are subscribed. Only 60. Bro, at least over half your audience is subscribed. To be fair, I think everyone watching my live streams have subscribed, but crazy numbers. And despite such a small fraction being subscribed, I'm still kind of doing numbers. I've got 890. There's one subscriber of mine that just kind of appears and disappears for some reason. I think there's like a bug with their account because they keep just disappearing and then reappearing every now and then. But I basically have 890 subscribers, which is kind of insane. I've actually, it's so close to 900 that I've decided that when I hit 1,000 subscribers, when I hit 1,000 sorry, when I hit 900 subscribers, I'm going to announce what my subscriber special will be for 1,000. Because I want to do something really cool for 1,000. Because not only is 1,000 subscribers a big milestone, but it also lets me get monetized. Because, yeah, I'm not really fully monetized yet. So if I could get like 1,000 subscribers, that's going to be a big milestone in terms of a big number, and in terms of, hey, I can finally get money off YouTube. So, yeah, none of my videos are made for money. I'm doing it for love of the game. Something that not every YouTuber can say. But, yeah, so I want to announce that at 900 what that special will be. And I've been thinking over, like, last night. I stayed up quite late last night trying to think of ideas and what I wanted it to be. And I think I've got something that's kind of insane. And it's the start of content I've been wanting to do for a bit now on the channel. Plants Freddy's related, of course. I'm not talking about the thing like I said earlier where I was like, oh, I want to do Minecraft content. Plants Freddy's related, don't worry. And it's going to be something a little insane. Yeah. So, I'm excited to announce that when I hit 900. Because then that will be a cool incentive to get 1,000. And then I can get 10 cents from YouTube every now and then. I'm subbed, yeah, no GW. After you watch the video, we watched Blast Past development update. I'm not really up to date on the Blast the Past stuff, but yeah, sure. Can be here for a while. Yo, FNAF Rewritten's coming back? Yo, what's my notification? Why do I have a notification? Oh, of course, she's always nervous. Blast to the Past FNAF. Yeah, so these are all the dev updates. I watched one randomly. I mean, I guess it's a gameplay trial, this makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I'll save that. I'll pin that here.
The channel, if you could just drop a sub. I do this every week. I got editors to pay. Please. If you
W editors.
like, comment, and subscribe, it does wonders more than you know.
Speaking of lore, I need to make my Vita kind of Season 3 predictions for what comes out. Oh yeah, I don't follow that. Man, the amount of times I've gone, man, I need to make this before X thing happens. And then I don't do it. Oh, they've got so many videos in the back burner now because I keep being distracted on, like, game projects. Everything for me is on hold until Chica's Secret Party comes out. Which I might share that at the end of this stream too, like, progress of how that's going. Yeah.
Okay, though, for real, like, get to the point. Recently, on the Freddy Fazbear Pizza Podcast, the weekly podcast I have on this very channel, I answered 2 questions that, when combined, could not only be fully accurate to the next FNAF game, but like I've been saying, if they're true, it changes everything. So what are these questions? The first one is from Unusual Carrot, and he reads, Proto Freddy's, the prototype Freddy Fazbear's Pizza we see in Secret of the Mimic, is the sister location observation room. I'm not going to go over all of my evidence for this, would be one long email, but here are some bullet points to get you started. Identical layout and theorized to be in the same location.
It's not quite identical though, because it's the FNAF 1 layout. It's only really identical from, like, the office perspective, because there's the office and the 2 hallways at the side, and that's because this location area was a reference to Five Freddy's 1, but even then it's not a layout recreation like the MCM prototype Freddy's is. Again, I'll be very vocal with that. I disagree with any theory that the prototype Freddy's is supposed to be anything other than the Five Freddy's 1.
Help Wanted 2's Princess Quest being a literal direct foreshadowing, William's discovery of F10N4 kickstarting a base of operations, everything already pointing to Sister Location 2 being the next game. All being said, I believe it makes perfect narrative sense, having shown us the humble beginnings in Secret of the Mimic to what became of the horrors of Sister Location.
Yeah, narratively, yeah, I agree with that much. Like, the next game being like a Sister Location type thing.
In other
100%,
words,
I think.
this theory is supposing that the room we play in the ending of Secret of the Mimic, that prototype Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, is the same room we can see on the cameras in the Entered Night and Custom Night of Sister Location, to the point that the private office itself is the security office F10 and 4 is inside of. And truth be told, at first, I was not too sure of this theory, because on one hand, there is a lot of merit to it. As is mentioned, the layout is frighteningly similar. This is the camera layout of Sister Location, and this is a top-down view of the
So with these theories that this prototype Freddy's is like Sister Location of Pizzeria Simulator, is it the idea that like it got replaced with it? Because there's no way like it's the same. It had to be changed. I mean, I guess that's like it's same area maybe, but at that point the connections kind of fall moot. If it's just the same area, there's like I feel like most of these people are making these connections because the previous game location, like being made like prototyped up, like mocked up. And I feel like if you remove this mock-up and just replace it with something else, that kind of defeats the point of the theory that this is another location. And this is still something this is totally Five Nights at Freddy's 1. He's cut it off from the image, but this is backstage, dining area, restrooms, kitchen, west, east hall, corners as well, supply closet. If this is this location, then that would be this part, this part. I mean, granted, this is like... Granted, the only really weird part is the east closet, because that would be eating into where the kitchen should be. However, not gonna lie, they kind of have a point that this back part could have been like a refurbished, redecorated back of this.
prototype Freddy's Pizzeria in Secret of the Mimic. They both have the private office.
Also, with the focus on all this, what's the narrative point of these locations being the same place? Like, I get the point of, like, the sister location being down there, the purpose of that. What's the purpose of the same place where the prototype Freddy's used to be, replaced with what would become, like, this office? I'm not sure what that at. Okay, he'll go into it, I'm sure.
A side room for each hallway, connected to a larger room at the top, and a vertical vent in the middle. Granted, this is not exact. I want to be clear on that. The vent isn't exactly the same, and the prototype Freddy's Pizzeria is a lot larger than the room we see in Sister Location. Now, these are minor issues, and there are ways to work around it that we'll go into.
Yeah, to be fair though, in Five Nights at Freddy's, on the size one, I don't think scale should ever be used in Five Nights at Freddy's as like a law thing, because scale is always inconsistent. Actually, to be fair, entire areas are inconsistent. Like, Pizzeria Simulator looks different in Pizzeria Simulator, how it does in, like, Security Breach, how it does in Help Wanted 2. The scales and layouts are, like, entirely different in all three. Yeah, I guess that kind of defeats my own point more than this, but... The scale's not really an issue specifically, because even in the classic games, things are scaled differently depending on what they wanted you to feel at the time.
But I just want you to not think that I'm blind. I see the differences. As he wrote, Princess Quest 4 is another great piece of evidence. I mean, the fact is, it's a minigame that starts in the FNAF 6 location, goes underground in the game, and then to exit it, you have to take the sister location elevator up. Inexplicably.
Oh, I never thought about that. Huh. Wait. What the fuck? Princess Quest 4 is Cassie's journey. Huh. I did not know that connection. He's right. You start off in Pizzeria Simulator because it's just the supply closet of the Pizza Sim. Go down, just like Cassie goes down below Pizza Sim. Finds this location elevator, just like Cassie finds an elevator and probably goes to this location. That's a connection I never knew. That's a good call out. Alright. I love it when things I don't know about get brought up. Of course, creators never know what I do and don't know, but I like that. I'm happy.
You're in this minigame, in this digital world, and then suddenly, the sister location elevator. That's weird, and they never explain it. But maybe this is the explanation. Now, I've already mentioned in this very video
That makes
it seems
sense.
incredibly likely the next thing we're going to do in the FNAF timeline is go and rescue Cassie, who was last seen around these ruins, which are likely to be sister location. Add that onto the fact that I discussed here that Scott gave us a teaser for what they're working on, a sequel, specifically not a 3.
Not Falter. No, but it could definitely be Sister Location 2 as well. I do definitely see that. My only gut with Sister Location 2 is that Five Nights at Freddy's titles have double meanings. So Sister Location's double meaning is that it's a sister location of Freddy's and your sister is there. Unless Cassie's brother is about to save Cassie in the Sister Location 2, then that makes the double meaning fall apart. And I don't think they would abandon their double meaning. Because even Help Wanted 2 were like similar enough that the same double meanings kind of connected. They're both like Help Wanted from Phasma Entertainment's perspective because they need to be employed, they need your help to do what you need to do. Either in Help Wanted like testing their game, or Help Wanted 2 fix the Pizzaplex, I guess. And but it's actually Help Wanted from Glitchtrap's perspective because he's been taken out and he needs your help to bring him back together. So Vanessa brings back Glitchtrap, his dad brings back Glitchtrap. Same double meaning holds. That's why Help Wanted 2's like title similarities, or having the same title, works because it's also the same double meaning. It holds the same meaning, so it holds the same title. I don't think the next game can hold the same meaning as Sister Location. I don't think that quite works, which is my only reason why I'm reluctant on Sister Location 2. Because for that to be the case, it'd make most sense to either like Cassie's brother would have to be involved or something. I feel like it would be an awkward addition now. Especially when there's already so many characters we need to follow on from. Yeah, I don't think double meaning holds enough for that to really make sense. I also 100% disagree. That one I'm reluctant on. One I 100% disagree on is Security Breach 2. This is not a Security Breach 2 setup. We are not ready for like a Security Breach situation. That is not what's being set up at all, I don't think. That double meaning definitely doesn't hold. Because Security Breach is like, oh, Gregory has breached security, he's in when Vanessa doesn't want him there, but also security itself is compromised because Vanessa is taken over by Glitchtrap. Like, it's about her. In, like, Security Breach 2, I mean, I guess Cassie would have fallen into, like, Sister Location, so I guess that maybe if there is a security system that's supposed to keep you out, I guess that could be a security breach. And, I mean, if there is a system that's gone rogue to begin with, the problem is, this system going rogue in Sister Location, I feel like that would be intentional. I don't feel like that would be a security breach or something going wrong. I don't feel like, and so that's another thing, it's like, I'm a little bit reluctant, but when most people say security breach 2, they use that term to mean anything that comes after security breach. Problem is, that's not what Scott's talking about. But people just say, oh, the ruined continuation. Like, Security Breach 2, there's going to be another game after Security Breach, that's what Scott's talking about. The problem is, like, if it's not literally a Security Breach 2, then it's not what Scott's talking about. Because what you're talking about isn't Security Breach 2, it's then Five Nights at Freddy's 12. And that's not a 3, I mean, that's not a 2, that's a 12. So, unless it's literally Security Breach 2, then it can't be what Scott's talking about. And I don't think no one thinks it's literally a Security Breach 2. Some people do think Sister Location 2, but again, I'm reluctant on that. So I feel pretty good about it being FNAF World 2, because Scott's been very vocal across multiple streams for quite a while now about him working on a Five Nights at Freddy's World 2, and how open he is to working on one. So I'm definitely certain he's working on it. But, so I think that's just what he's referring to.
A 2. So not Help Wanted 3, and realistically looking at the franchise, it only makes sense to be either Sister Location 2, Security Breach 2, or FNAF World 2. And as much as you should always bet on FNAF World 2,
FNAF World 2.
Right now, I think Sister Location 2 makes by far the most sense.
Gonna be FNAF Sister Location 2 or Ruined 2. Well, it can't be both because it's not going to be called FNAF Sister Location Ruin, I assume. It's not going to be that. But yeah, I already gave my reluctances on that. Like Sister Location, you'd have to have the double meaning. Like titles have double meanings, you'd have to preserve that, and I don't think now's the time to suddenly add in a brother to make Cassie a sister just to keep a double meaning. And Ruin 2, I guess, Ruin was never a double meaning though. DLCs don't seem to have the double meaning treatment. Ruin is just the places in Ruin. Curse of Dreadbear is just, yeah, Dreadbear's bad. I don't see a world where a main installment is called Ruin 2. If it's Ruin 2, I think it's more likely to be Secret of the Mimic DLC at that point. Because then, okay, sure, you could have like the remains of Murray's costume after the parachute ending, like the scorched remains. That could be a thing. I don't think that'd be the next game, main game, which I think is what most people would be referring to when they say Ruin 2. FNAF World is peak, FNAF World 2 is peaker. I don't know about that, because Scott said that one of the things he changed about FNAF World is to get artists to work on it. He doesn't seem proud of his art style. He seems to want to have like the cartoony art style that you see in all the other spin-off games. And it's like, I don't know, man. FNAF World, like a 2D cartoony art style, sort of Scott's art style, it won't hit the same. Also, the bigger the franchise gets, the more you don't need to scrape the bottom of the barrel for a big roster. So FNAF World 2 will probably omit more, like, weirder characters, just having the main cast in most games. It's like, man, I like that FNAF World had the most random-ass fodder imaginable. I'm not gonna doom about it too much, because, you know, it's not out, and I'm absolutely hyped for FNAF World 2, because I love FNAF World 1. But I do want to point out there is a couple of things that make me go, especially like the art style, it's gonna be a little bit of a, oh man, kind of moment. Curse of Dreadbear 2 is wild though.
There's all this potential lore in this area that Cassie was last seen in. Not to mention, like Unusual Carrot said in his email, there's way more evidence than just these 4 bullet points. Take, for example, the minigame selection of Help Wanted 2. It's unclear exactly what the minigames are. Like, in Help Wanted, we are very clear from the start this is all a VR game, but Help Wanted 2 seems to be taking place in the real world.
My take on this, it's expectations versus reality. I think there is a Fazbear orientation program is where most of like the clean part of the game takes place. But when you take off the vanity mask, all the ruined stuff is the state the place is actually in and what Cassie's dad actually goes through. So it could be like the main game is like training and is virtual, and the ruined part of the game is what he's actually doing and was physical. That's my take on that. And of course, there are some levels in the hard mode that are also clearly not what he's actually doing in the moment because they're just extensions of the base vanilla, like training simulation. So it's on a minigame to minigame basis for me, I guess, in that way. But that's my take on like what that's all about.
So in that case, what are the minigames we're accessing on this computer? Are they security camera footage? Are they memories of the player? We're not sure about that. Regardless, it's interesting to note that an entire section of it is inexplicably dedicated to Sister Location.
Oh yeah.
There are FNAF 6 minigames sprinkled in. It's the nurse minigames. There are Fall Fest minigames sprinkled in, which is strange, but sure. And the majority of the minigames are things that could have happened at the Pizzaplex to begin with.
Yep.
That all makes somewhat sense. Then why is it that the, going by the layout, last section of the game is entirely dedicated to Sister Location? To the extreme that if you're going for a normal playthrough where you collect all the presents, the last minigame you would play if you're going in order from left to right, top to bottom, like normal humans do, the last minigame is a boss fight against Circus Baby, arguably the main character of Sister Location, and arguably the main antagonist of Help Wanted 2. I mean, hell, the game starts with a shadow silhouette jump scare of Circus Baby. Why is she so present here? But if this is the room connected to the private office of Sister Location, suddenly that influence makes a lot more sense. Now, admittedly, at first, one of my big hesitations with this theory was this room double dipping. The idea that this room is almost guaranteed to be the FNAF 6 fake pizzeria. I mean, when we see it in Sister Location, it's on lock. Everything inside of there is stuff you could have purchased during the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria Simulator. And then in Ruin, we go in the rooms around this room, and there's burner rooms, rooms with these big fiery burners at the bottom, which would have been perfect for Henry Emily's plan.
Yes.
Something to lure everybody in and burn them up. So if this room is meant to be the FNAF 6 pizzeria, which is all but guaranteed, then it can't also be the private office for Sister Location, right? That was my main hesitation when I first read this question, but as I think about it more and more, who's to say it can't? Sure, if we're just going off the layout map of Sister Location, this room is too small, admittedly. But there are ways around that. This map is anywhere from 5 years to decades later. So maybe the room was renovated, maybe not all the room was fully needed, maybe the map's not accurate, maybe it's a small retcon. We can't not consider the possibility that it makes more sense story-wise for this to be the same room, and if the only issue is that on the cameras the map size isn't correct, that's a pretty small retcon.
Pizza Sim itself is worse.
In the grand scheme of things. And then if we go off of visuals, it fits perfectly fine. I didn't realize this because I didn't play that much Custom Night from Sister Location, to be honest, but the rooms we see through the cameras of Custom Night are already kind of pizzeria themed. The floor has checker tile on it. The walls have that classic Freddy's strip along the side of it.
Oh yeah.
So it already kind of looks like a pizzeria. Why can't it be the same pizzeria? Now I do hear another counterpoint. If the FNAF 6 pizzeria is the Sister Location private office area, why would Molten Freddy and Scrap Baby come back? Wasn't the entire point of Sister Location that the Fun Times are so sick and tired of being stuck down here, they would do anything to get out? Why would the next place they go to be right back down to the bunker? Well, they both have proper motivation, because they both think William Afton's down there. Circus Baby, or at that point in the timeline, Scrap Baby, is dead set on helping her father, William Afton, accomplish his plans. She thinks his goal is to put everyone back together and bring them all back to life, and she'll do anything to accomplish it. We hear her say this directly at the ending of FNAF 6. Everyone remembers the peak monologue that Henry gives at the end of Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria Simulator, but a lot of us sometimes forget that monologue starts with connection terminated for a reason. First, Elizabeth is yapping. It begins with Scrap Baby going on about how we fell right into a trap. This was all for William. William's gonna put us all back together. This was all his doing. And then she's told how misinformed she had been. But she came here willingly. She thought that William Afton was here, and part of the grand design was to get to William Afton so he can fix everybody. So then that's why she would go down there. She thinks William's down there. It's all part of the plan. She might not have even wanted to leave the bunker in the first place. She might just have wanted to seek out William Afton. Molten Freddy, on the other hand, is a bit different. But to be fair, Molten Freddy, at least from the death lines we get in FNAF 6, seems to be fairly aware of the familial
this is the part of the video where it's just like, yeah, most of this is just like information you'd know if you like played the games. Unfortunately, he has to say all this because, let's be real with ourselves, 90% of the community does not in fact play the games. Now, because of Dreadbear is genuinely peak, it's fun. It's fun. It's one of the most fun parts of Help Wanted, but it's not. I think it's could have been better. I don't like that they had a hard mode switch and then no hard mode levels. Also, there's no reward for, like, beating all the minigames. I would have preferred some sort of, like, cutscene or some sort of reveal ending somewhere there. It kind of feels like it doesn't pay itself off very well for a DLC that you directly pay for. The bunny Easter egg's cool, though.
Here. You know, we got the a big happy family, a bunch of mentions like that. I hope I'm not late to the party. And similarly, if Molten Freddy is the thing that becomes the blob, which seems most likely, then we know that Molten Freddy wants desperately to kill William Afton.
What do we think of the this amalgamation, tangle, blob, hot-ass Molten Freddy thing? Because, like, right now I'm sitting on the fence. I feel like this is one of those things that has to be just we wait for an explanation for. Modern Fights Freddy's is a little bit frustrating like that in the sense that you can't really solve everything. Modern Fights Freddy's is being made with the intent of another game being made, which is different from the classic games where every game was intended to be the last. Because of that, the classic games always had this sense of closure whenever a new game came out. Whereas the modern games feel like there's big mysteries where there's just no hope of solving. You just have to wait till the next thing comes out. And it makes solving it just feel... Solving the individual game feels a lot less satisfying for that. And this thing is one of those things. The Tangle, I guess, is probably its official name right now. And, I definitely think it's the remains of Molten Freddy, but I don't think it's possessed by the remains of Molten Freddy, because I think it would have been defeated in the Pizza Sim fire. So, like, then you got a question where all the parts came from, and it could say special delivery. Special delivery is an easy answer, where it's like, oh, the, Fazbear Phonom Delivery Service, or whatever it's called, went rampant. It was, like, mass-produced, so they got a bunch of parts from that, and got thrown down there at some point in, like, the trash, and this thing just absorbed them all. But that still doesn't really explain how it's sentient in the first place, first of all. And it also... I'm not even fully confident it's from special delivery. Like, I used to think that made the most sense, but all because there's, like, clearly mass-produced parts, because there's, like, 3 body left arms or something in there. But you gotta remember, these animatronics do have spare parts. Like, there's no reason it has to be special delivery. It'd just be cool and, like, a nice callback if it was. But if you have to theorize on the callback, then I guess it's not really that much of a callback. So it very much realistically could also just be the remains of the original animatronics, all put into the pile. Then what's it haunted by? It's clearly haunted. It breathes. So, like, it's haunted, for sure. Is it haunted by spirits? I'm certain it's not haunted by the same thing it was haunted by in Pizza Sim. But it's got to be haunted by something. I feel like Agony is an answer, but Agony almost feels like a cop-out. I don't know, Agony always feels like a cop-out to me for an answer. I mean, it could be the answer, but it should, I don't know, I just don't like Agony as a concept. It hasn't really been explored in the games either, so it's kind of, I don't really want to use that too much. Especially considering that the closest thing we have to Agony entities in this series have very distinct design traits, which do not look like Tangle, I guess. I'm gonna just call him that. He doesn't look like something like Shadow Freddy or anything. So I'm reluctant to say that it is Agony. Dude, these bikes driving past. But I mean, it could be haunted by Agony. Or it could be haunted by, like, random spirits of the Pizzaplex. There's a lot of spirits in the Pizzaplex too that just don't... They're there, but they're not big and major. It's like the caution bots have the sounds of children screaming, so there's definitely some paranormal thing there as well. Like, I don't know where the spirits exactly are going, but maybe this thing could be like a similar situation where it's just unidentified Pizzaplex victims, just some of them ended up there. Because there are MCI in the Pizzaplex. There are missing children there from presumably Vanny. There's 9 of them, although one of them seems to be Gregory, so I guess not all of them died, but which then makes the souls thing for the caution bots weird, because there's definitely more than 9 caution bots. So was it a case of, like, all of their remnant was mixed up? Is that what the scooper is there for, maybe? Like, they've got their remnant mixed up, and then the scooper just put their remnant in a bunch of random things. And that made the caution bots alive, the Tangle alive, and I don't know. I feel like we're not going to know until a future game. And it's not called the Blob, it's called the Tangle. Well, it's not called anything at the moment. It's a nameless character. The only names we have for the thing are file names, which are internal development names and not actual names of the characters sometimes. So we literally do not have an actual name for the character. The character encyclopedia doesn't list one either. So if you want to go actually, then all we have is dev name and not an official name. Oh, all we have is an internal name, not an official name.
Which, you know.
Oh, I like calling him, his official name is, hi everybody. I've been calling him, when I feel like saying it because it's kind of wordy, Molten Freddy on one too many cheeseburgers. Actually, Tangle is a FNAF World character. It's also the internal name for what people call the Blob. But yes, that is one of the big reasons why people don't want to call it Tangle. But, like, it's the closest we have to a name for the blob. Sorry. It's not only one model, only one thing from it in the files is called blob. It's not really its file name. It's the name of the model, the mass model, but like it's called even that's called tangle blob. It's the blob of the tangle, and then the tentacles it has is tangle tentacle, and then the sound effects at tangle breath. Like everything about it is called tangle, except like that one mass model that people associate with it, and that's why people call it the blob. Whereas like calling it the blob is like calling Freddy Fazbear body. Because the body is part of its bottle. But at the same time though, what else gonna call it? Because the internal name is Tangle, which is a name it's already taken. But at the same time, Five Freddy's fans have used names that are already taken and not given a shit in the past. Funtime Foxy from Sister Location is not the first character that was called Funtime Foxy, yet everyone calls them Funtime Foxy still. So I feel like the same rule should kind of go here as well. Like, you didn't care about Funtime Foxy being a name that was already used, why care about Tangle?
We could have probably assumed anyway. It is kind of the Funtime animatronics that he tortured, filled with souls of kids he killed. This thing does not like William Afton. And if Molten Freddy thinks William Afton is down here, I would not doubt if that's the reason it so willingly comes. After all,
okay, so this theory is that it's like still the spirits of the Funtime victims, I guess, and that's why he's trying to kill William Afton. That makes sense, I guess.
Molten Freddy seems to be...
Because we don't know that all the remnant from the Sister Location Scooper was used. There could still be some of it still there. I guess it could still been... Some of that still could have been haunted and could have been attached to Tangle.
fairly agile in this weird, wiry form. It might be able to sneak back out once it kills William Afton now, or at least think that it can. So even if FNAF 6 and the Sister Location Observation Room are the same room, then these characters still have a reason to go down there. And this whole facility was put together by William Afton to accomplish his goals, originally, and then was reused by Henry to accomplish his goals. But we know what Henry's goals are, to put an end to all of this. The question is, if this truly was a massive pizzeria that we now know that it is, what were William Afton's goals? Why would he do all of this? Well, that goes into one of the pieces of evidence from this email, and majorly into the evidence of the other email I've yet to bring up. What was that other email I received? Truth be told, this email is actually about a different question, but it's the context this person gives about their question that I want to discuss today.
Charles says, don't you think what if it were the technicians from Sister Location? Like they died quite a long time ago. I mean, the problem is with theories is there's no linking evidence to anything. That's why I say you kind of just have to wait for the next game. Like, any answer you throw out is just, yeah, it could be, I guess.
The question was sent in by Ginger on the Patreon, and it reads, so I've had this theory rattling around in my head for a while, that an upcoming game might reveal / retcon that Ennard was the Mimic all along. We know that the first 6 in-universe games were based on some amount of truth, but could have been influenced by misinformation or creative misinterpretation.
I do not like that interpretation. I don't like the idea that, I don't like the theory that, that Help Wanted exists, the video game plot point existed to make it so the old games are all unreliable. And my main problem with that theory is that Scott went on a Reddit post and just said why he did that. It doesn't change anything about the old games, it was there to explain why things like Night Marion appeared in Help Wanted even though he never had a canon appearance. It's to explain why canon and non-canon material can exist in the same canon game. So they had indie game plot point to explain that. That was the answer Scott directly gave on a Reddit post. So any other interpretation that goes against that Reddit post, such as, oh, it existed so we can't use FNAF 1 to 7 anymore, I don't like that. I don't think it's a good interpretation. It just feels very dismissive. No, bro, and it's not the Mimic. I do think to some extent that I mean, I guess to an extent I kind of agree with it though. Because, I don't think it's the Mimic, like the endoskeleton. Like, clearly, and it is an amalgamation of all the Funtime endoskeletons, and those are very distinct from the Mimic endoskeleton. I do think that the program might be involved, because the Funtimes are very advanced and they're like sentient AIs. And also, Funtime Freddy specifically has voice mimicking. Like, I can totally see the idea that when, as I said before, I had the theory that William Afton may have experimented with the Mimic program after attaining it after the events of Secret Mimic. Because while Arnold doesn't retrieve the Mimic, someone does, because the Mimic is retrieved on modern FNAF. So I think that once someone retrieves the Mimic and William Afton gets a hold of it, I think that he experiments with the Mimic program. One of those things I think he used it for was to create Glitch Trap, and the other one I definitely do think could be Funtimes. I think that makes sense, and if the Mimic program was used for the Funtimes, then yeah, Enid to some extent would be part of the Mimic program. So I guess I kind of agree, but also that's very, very speculative, I feel like.
And I can see how the Mimic could have been creatively interpreted to be an amalgamation of robot parts and spirits rather than a complex AI endoskeleton. And to me, this is very interesting. Now, straight away, frankly, I don't fully agree that...
Yeah, not entirely Mimic, yeah.
Ennard could just be the Mimic. These seem like too much of a separate character.
Yeah, Rye agrees
with
on
this. We
this.
see the Mimic in Secret of the Mimic, and we see it in Ruin, and it looks generally the same the whole time. The idea that it looked like Ennard at any point doesn't super track. Not to mention the flowchart of Ennard to Molten Freddy to the Blob makes too much sense for it to be the Mimic, and then Molten Freddy came out of nowhere and then turned into the Blob out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work. I agree. Lawman has a theory. Blob is possessed by all the kids in the Pizzaplex MCI and screams the caution bots because they're connected to the Blob like a glitch of animatronics. Well, glitch up infected animatronics are all part of the same system, and because it was put in there by GGY Patient 46. I shouldn't say GGY because that's theory territory, but Patient 46 put them into the animatronics and the systems. So that's why Glitch Trap's able to infect everything, because it was individually put in there. For the Pizzaplex MCI, for that to work, it would have to be the same theory I said earlier, where it was individually put in and everything, just in a bunch of random things.
But what is worthwhile to bring up, and what does get me thinking from this question, is to think about what the Funtime animatronics truly are. They're incredibly advanced animatronics, capable of mimicking speech, with exoskeletons that can morph around a bit, and endoskeletons that are able to move throughout the exoskeleton, move outside of the exoskeleton, form together, and change their shape enough to fit inside of Michael Afton. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Crazy shit.
I don't think that Ennard is the Mimic, but it seems like the Funtimes were made in the Mimic's image. So what does this mean? And what would we learn in this new...
I never made the connection that the Funtimes like reform themselves and can change this and can like restructure themselves, fit in anything, because that's true, because they fit in a Michael. That literally is the Mimic's shapeshifting ability in the Funtimes. We now have more than one connection in terms of ability. It's now not just voice mimicking, it's also the shapeshifting ability too. I never really interpreted it as shapeshifting though. I interpreted it as just they didn't have all of the mass in Ennard, and that some of the mass was left behind. Well, that's kind of my interpretation, but I guess you never know what the wire design can do, so maybe we'll see. Like, it doesn't, we never see anything remaining, so possible. Interesting connection that I never thought about.
New FNAF game that changes everything. Well, let's put our evidence into the oven and see what kind of horrors rise. Once all that Mimic nonsense was settled and the secret was out, William went to collect his spoils to see exactly what he had purchased, surveying the land and the facilities inside of it, and he found more than he dreamed he ever could, namely F10N4, a supercomputer which seemingly housed a perfect recreation of the mind and personality of Edwin Murray's late wife, Fiona.
Yep.
Quick aside, I know and you know that F10N4 is not a perfect replica of Fiona. F10N4 is way more robotic and servient to Edwin, but let's be real, it was the 70s, William probably didn't know the difference. Okay, that's all, I just wanted to be clear about that. Not to mention the Mimic itself. I mean, an endoskeleton this strong that can fit into any animatronic suit it wants to, that can mimic any voice and personality you give it or show it, that would print money. for William Afton's business.
Crazy stuff.
Because keep in mind, at this point in the timeline, as far as we're aware, no killings have taken place. Sure, some employees have died because William Afton is an incredibly scummy businessman, but he's not an outright murderer yet. His main goal is probably still to have a successful pizzeria, and the Mimic seems like a golden ticket to that opportunity. So now he has F10N4 and this M2 endoskeleton, and needs to understand exactly how they work so he can thrive his business. So right here, William Afton sets up his base of operations, the private office, the same room that F10N4 is already in, to study the Mimic, learn how it works, and try to make one of his own. He leaves the Mimic in this pizzeria, the pizzeria that it already enjoys being in. I mean, think about the bad ending for Secret of the Mimic. When it catches us and kills us, it puts us into an animatronic and lights up the show and just stares at us. I think the Mimic genuinely enjoys being in here to an extent.
The Mimic doesn't escape from Murray's at any point. It always goes back. It goes back to the parachute ending too. It turns around.
And this is something that F10N4 likely knows and could have told William Afton, so he can study it from the safety of the private office. Which is why this private office is set up to observe and defend itself from the rooms in front of it.
This is the one thing that was getting to me like this entire time, is how does the office fit into this? Because I never quite understood why that theories even existed and how it connects to anything. Alright, made to observe the Mimic. Yeah, no, okay, that works, that's good, that's good.
Because you're defending yourself from the fake pizzeria the Mimic was once housed in. And it's right here that the fun times were developed. William Afton was obsessed with making this Mimic. For one, like I mentioned, it prints money. But I wouldn't doubt if part of it is jealousy. We know how William Afton acts in the books when he realizes that Henry Emily is a better inventor than he is. He becomes obsessed with Henry and tries to do what he did and fails. I'd bet that William Afton is doing the same thing with Edwin. The Mimic is something William could never create on his best day, but he drives himself crazy trying to recreate it, trying to make his own to prove not only that he can, but that he's better than Edwin Murray. He didn't need him anyway. And his best attempt was the Funtime animatronics. Endoskeletons that can somewhat change their shape as well. Ones that can mimic voices. Ones that have set personalities, but not quite to the tier of the Mimic. At the end of the day, Funtime Freddy is Funtime Freddy. And they're not able to put on every other animatronic suit they'd want to, but they can move around a little bit. They can slither around and change their shape slightly. I mean, look at the Funtime endoskeleton. This thing looks insane. Like, we don't talk enough about how weird the Funtime endoskeletons are. Look at Endo 01, Endo 02. That's an endoskeleton. It's bare bones, it's metal plating, it does what it needs to. Is this a realistic endoskeleton? I don't know. Do I look like a scientist? No. I'm in a goddamn 10 by 10 office recording videos about FNAF theories. I don't know robotics. But what I do know is this kinda looks real, and this looks like insane tubing. So maybe this is why. Maybe the Fun Times are William Afton's best attempt at recreating the Mimic. And it's precisely because of that that allows them to, much later in the timeline, shed their exoskeletons and form into Ennard. Their endoskeletons might not be fully malleable in the weird way that the Mimic is, but they're able to conglomerate and form one body, and then change the shape of that body to fit inside of Michael Afton. That sounds a lot like a Mimic. Now, I'm not saying Ennard is the Mimic. This endoskeleton, I do believe, is a separate entity, but I think it is devilishly ironic that Edwin's best invention is still holding pretty strong 50 years later, but William's best attempt at recreating it not only failed, but then was sent to the same place the Mimic was in a non-canon ending, and eventually degenerates and transforms into Molten Freddy, into the Blob, into something that would become William Afton's true downfall. A mass of wires dedicated to making sure he stays dead. And I think this is what we're going to learn in the next Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Yeah, cool.
Sister Location 2. Going through the old ruins of the Sister Location bunker and seeing it for what it really is. Seeing how it was connected to the FNAF 6 pizzeria as it was all a part of that original underground facility built by Edwin Murray. Hell, maybe the FNAF 4 experiment chambers are somewhere nearby too. It's all been connected, way before child possession was involved. Well, I guess not fully, because David is a whole situation. But the remnant experiments, while they happened here, they happened much later. At first, it was just William and his obsession with not being the second best inventor under the Fazbear brand. So,
yes,
that's the theory. The idea that Sister Location was much more connected to the FNAF 6 pizzeria than we ever thought, and that in doing so, William Afton was trying to recreate the Mimic, which is where he created the Funtime animatronics. It makes a lot of sense the more you look at it, and the more you look at it, the more evidence comes to light that backs up that claim, especially if our next game is going to be Sister Location 2, where we could learn all about this and finally understand why William Afton was down in that bunker in the first place. But let me know what you think in the comments.
Oh, it's great.
Below. I think this is a really damn good theory, and I'd love to know if you agree or disagree. In the meantime, I mentioned a couple times that we have evidence knowing what the next FNAF game is going to be. I expound fully on that evidence in this theory. It was a chat message Scott put in Dawko's livestream chat. Hey guys, can we advertise the games maybe? Instead of just talking in a live stream? You're a big company. You can afford marketing. Anyway.
Alright,
And a huge
sweet.
thank you to the
I just wanted
patrons
to
who help support this.
I just wanted to finish that video off because that was all just putting it all together. Okay. So one little thing at the end there that I want to say I disagree with. If there is another game, like in Sister Location that's diving in all this, which I think there would be, almost definitely, if it expands on, it's going to expand on things and do some crazy stuff we could not have predicted. Five Nights at Freddy's is pretty good at that, at just doing, they're just completely introducing new things. So, if they're expanding on all that stuff, like I, Rye, people in my chat, like, all think, then I would say that there's probably quite a lot here that will be very, very different than what could possibly be predicted. But yeah, I like the theory. Guys, 6 years span of the franchise, so it takes place a single square mile, which is almost like some sort of burger. Sibling venue. Every FNAF game is in Hurricane. Most locations stacked on top of each other. Every FNAF game is set on Murray's. Every FNAF game is set in the same damn room. Edwin made Mimic, got defeated by it. William made Enid, got defeated by it. Talk about history repeating itself. That's just a giant cursed burger at this point. Oh, that's new. Second thing about Sister Location 2 will be the 5th main game twice. Yeah, okay. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that I don't know robotics is definitely going to be a new focus. Yep, okay. Back to reading chat. Yeah, I mean, Enid being made up wires can spool up or lose mass fit into things, yeah. If FNAF 12, Cassie finds it. Okay, you're just. Okay, yeah. Rolling for the sake of it. Someone asked me to react to the Blaster Pass dev update. So, this will be the last thing I cover. I am probably. Yeah, this will be the last thing I do and then I'll end off stream because it's like 11 AM. I have things to do. This is just purely because someone asked. This is what they've been working on. Okay, this does not need to be this loud. Maybe this loud for you either. The development may be slow at the moment, but we are doing our best behind the scenes to continue working along the path as intended. There is a lot that we have changed and talks have happened, which have led to a lot of unique designs coming from them. We're still hoping to clearly envision what the game was originally meant to be with our own spins. There is now a lot more organisation going on too, so we'll know soon enough what exactly is to be worked on. There's no need to worry about if we know what is done and what isn't. Hopefully, in time, we'll pick up our pace again and be able to get to giving back to you guys who have been patient with us. So please keep waiting, keep your eyes on peeled for what we have to offer. Nice. Probably didn't need to pause to read that. They keep going for quite a while. Thank you so many of our members. programmer, and oh, someone's helping the project organization. Okay. So reworked arcade textures. Where's this behind them? Okay, fair enough, I guess. I'm not sure I would have bothered with remaking stuff just for funsies. Okay, now they're showing the textures after. The animations. Oh, Amir Brody, I assume? He's the dude working on, if it's the Amir, I think it is. He's working on Meanwhile at Fredbear's and Pop Goes, right? Is it that Amir?
Showtime already? I am experiencing a malfunction. The recharge cycle is not complete.
You shut up!
Who said that?
I did! I'm down here.
Alright.
Down where?
Yeah, so they're fixing the security breach thing where there's like characters having like just standing there talking. That's valid. Chance to be annoying. And yeah, okay, that was pretty quick. That was pretty quick. The same amount of development as the original game. Alright. I'm gonna read some chat and then I'm gonna head off pretty quickly after I read chat. So if you guys have any final things, then yeah. Okay, great. Chat's talking about nothing of value. I will see you next time. This was supposed to just be a really quick stream, covering like appearing on a Johnny Blocks video, which is kind of crazy, by the way. And then it turned into like a long-ass reaction, commentary on various things. I love that the streams just kind of become really long for like no good reason. So yeah, I'll see you next time. And as I said, like my previous video, I will probably the next time I see you will probably be for like Chica's secret party, unless there's something I really want to talk about. Like as I said, this like appearing in the Johnny Blocks video, or like otherwise. Then yeah, next time I'll see you will be like when I upload the next gameplay footage of Chica's secret party, because still 2 weeks away. Secret Mimic VR mode. That's gonna be a while. See you then. Bye.